it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this Degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, to where you can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
And we are live. Welcome, Degen and Degenettes, to another excellent episode of the Degen Roundtable. Tonight, we do not have a Whiskey Wednesday. We have a very special guest, and that is Kareem, your magic, one of the OG Hexicans and the people that has really been so influential in this space over the past several years, someone that I've learned a lot from personally, and who's been through a little bit of interesting times over the last few months, and we're going to dive deep into that. Going to get into some market updates, macro, get into Hex, Pulse Chain, and maybe answer some of your questions on the chat. So, Kareem, we really appreciate having you on. I know it's been a while since you and I have met in person, but super stoked to have you here, and really excited to hear your story. How you doing?
Doing amazing. Bang, bang. What's up, everybody? Again, glad to be here. Excited. First time on the show. Again, excited to see what's up and share the love, educate, and answer some questions. So, but yeah, glad to be back. Glad to be free, back on American soil. So,
amen. Praise God for American soil. So, before we get into anything too deep, I know probably most people know a bit about yourself, but how did you get into crypto? Like, what brought you into the space in the first place, and then what drew you to Richard Heart and Hex more so than anything else?
Let's see. Well, to make a long short story long, right? Well, number one, I would say combination of friends, curiosity, and always trying to find a way to get ahead, right? So it kind of goes back to how I even got to the United States, right? For people who don't know, right? I'm from Central African Republic originally, and I came here, typical international student story, study engineering in Boston, quickly find a way to, work hard, get ahead, because where I'm from, that's just what we do, you know what I mean? So you want an opportunity, you fled war, you fled, all kinds of hardship. You take it as, okay, let's find a way to do something, when you see your mom and dad work so hard. So that I came with that attitude, then, worked at the same time being in school. Then I quickly got into sales because I realized even though engineering is great, right? I studied computer engineering, environmental engineering. I realized in sales, you can really get ahead because it's like, well, we build the technology, but the guy that talks to the people, literally the front end, right, makes more money because he's customer facing. That's all I learned, the power of like, you want to get literally direct, right? You cut the distance between you and the money, you make more money. So I started doing that. Then I started learning about investing because quickly I'm like, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? You think you make a lot of money, 6-figure, then after tax, you're like, yo, where did the money go, right? Especially if you live in the Northeast. So then fast forward to that, I first heard about crypto Bitcoin, but at the time, like I said, too much at stake, fighting to not be out of, problem, poverty. My parents sacrificed themselves. I couldn't really focus on that. I really just had to make this money in the sales world, which I was getting out of my hole, so to speak, at the time. So I kind of ignored that, got successful doing the sales. They ended up working at, at Tesla and then solar. I did that for about 8 years. Then one of my friends, who I used to work with, all of a sudden, multimillionaire, I don't understand. I'm like, no offense, I love him. Who's him? Like, wait a minute. Like, this guy wasn't really the guy that's like making it. You know what I mean? But then he didn't give up on me. He came back and I see him traveling the world. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I say, remember that crypto thing that I told you about? Boom. Next thing you know, I'm like, oh, let me revisit this. And again, I'm in a better situation this time, got out of my hole, got a nice place, take care of my mom and dad, stuff like that. And then have some investments at a time, you know what I mean? So now I'm revisiting the situation, learning about it, and I'm like, whoa, on top of making the money as an investment, because at that time, I already know about stock market stuff, right? I had some Teslas there, I was trading a little bit, but always been like a value investor, not a day trading stuff. It's just I buy the stuff long-term, sit on it, And then what ended up happening is I'm falling in love with it because, again, being from Africa, I knew the struggle of sending and receiving money, remittances. If you ever heard of things like a Western Union, MoneyGram, like it's real. Like you send money.
Yeah.
I mean, being a college student, my dad sent me money. You lose 5-8%. Like, you got paid $50,000 tuition plus room and board and stuff like that. And you're losing thousands of dollars just in conversion rate plus fees and all this other stuff. And I'm like, and sometimes it might take a while. If you do like regular transfer, it might take 2-3 weeks. You know what I mean? So Western Union was like kind of a faster version. Still take a day, but then the fees was just insane. So when I learned about this crypto, I was like, whoa, we can send money back home in a matter of like minutes. You know what I mean? So I went deep in the rabbit hole because then when I bite something, I just go deep, right? And then literally within a week or two, then I learned about Ethereum because I realized that, I don't want to sit here and wait hours for confirmation. Back in the day, right? 6 confirmation, Bitcoin, can't wait for that. Sometime 12. So then I'm into Ethereum. Oh, this thing is faster. And then I fall in the rabbit hole, DeFi, learning about those other things. Then 2017 comes around, which is right around the same time, is I got involved into EOS. I don't know if you guys remember that. Dan Larimer, again, engineer, passionate. I love the explanation. He's literally is the pioneer of delegated proof of stake. All those, advanced, chains that we have. It's basically he's the guy that kind of pioneered that. You know what I mean? The proof of stake Ethereum has that we have, it's basically delegated proof of stake from Dan Larimer and BitShares back in the day. So I did that, got involved for the first time in the big community, went to the meeting, all this other stuff. But I learned the most valuable thing, which I ended up bringing to Hex, which was you can have everything right. But then if something is not a finished product, you never know what's going to happen. It's still, to this day, right, the most successful, crowd sale / ICO, whatever you want to call it, 4 billion plus. Community's great. People were just awesome. We loved it. I remember getting in early, watch my account, literally did a 40x and then round trip. Because again, you do the right thing. You're part of the community, you're staking, you do all the other stuff, do the event. But the valuable lesson was like, anybody can meet and win, and then Larimer can meet well, but then the other CEO and the other people can end up flipping on you. In other words, it's like you have no guarantee whatsoever because the product isn't launching finished. They're making you promises, which they may or may not deliver. He did indirectly deliver the software, but then they also promised, oh, we're going to spend $1 billion back into the ecosystem, blah, blah, blah. They end up not doing that. So, but that was hey, you want to buy something that launch finished, product audited, ready to go. Because promises, although people might mean well, you never know. There's no guarantee. They can change their mind. Or they can raise so much money that the will of building the thing that they said they're going to raise money for is gone. Because now they're like, the incentive is no longer there, right? Because some people are just sadly purely financial. You know what I mean? So again, valuable lesson there. Then I exit out of that. And then I randomly reconnect back with Richard Hart on the video because during that whole process, I saw one of his videos, the famous IOTA rant. I caught that. It was so entertaining and so educational. That's why, the charisma captivated me. Was like, oh, wow, this guy speaking a lot of sense. And at that time, remember, I wanted to learn and just swallow information like blockchain, anything related. But I lost him because I didn't subscribe at the time, right? But I remember him. Then he's doing an interview with Dave Levine. And then I find out, oh, he has a coin. The coin has launched, blah, blah, blah. And you know how Richard does it, which is so awesome, is like he does an interview with the guy, but he's not really talking to the guy. He's talking to the audience, right? Because sometimes the guys could be a hater or God not really understanding it. Why is this guy so clueless? But I'm picking up what he's saying. And I realize how genius it is. And I'm like, yo, I got to move some money, literally. And then the next day, Godwell comes in, pumps the price, double, literally. So for people watching, I'm OG, but like, I'm not OG in the sense of like day one. Like I came after the first 100x. It just I put a lot of my capital in, right? So I rotated whatever I had left from the EOS days, because when that was bad, I moved back to Ethereum, and so my money was already on ETH. Because the biggest slap in the face after not doing what they said they're gonna do is like, now all of a sudden they want to do bridges, they want to go back and play buddy with Ethereum. I'm like, bro, you said you're gonna be the Ethereum killer, and then now all of a sudden you going back and then you guys are buying Bitcoin and ETH and like using the money that we gave you. Like it was just like a big slap in the face. I said, you know what, cut your losses. And then so I didn't technically lose money because like I said, the money round trip, I put it like about 40K at a time. It went to 400,000 and then it went back to 40K. So I can say that technically I didn't lose money, but technically I lost money too because I saw profit, right? But then again, I didn't cash out. So I moved that back, and then I started actively buying Hex because I was like, whoa, he's checking all the boxes. Because when Richard does an interview, he's really good at explaining you why you want what he has to offer, right? It's not just, hey, price go up, that's good, but he's really good at explaining all the intangible things that should matter when you want to really, really deal with like, you know, blockchain stuff. Because I was this close to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to buy some ETH, turn in like my new 401k, because I already knew at that time, I was already convinced crypto is the way to go. Like S&P stuff and regular stock market stuff, I'm not here for the 12% a year. I mean, it's nice if you didn't have any other alternative, but I knew too much about crypto. And then the fluidity, the easy send and receive, I fell in love with that already. So that's why I was like, if it wasn't for Rich, I would have just literally just buy ETH. And that's it. And mind you, at the time, Ethereum was like in a couple hundred. Then he went to temporarily revisit $80. I scooped some of those at the time over there, but I was just buying, and then converting to Hex and, you know, creating the staking. So
he's a good marketer. That's what got you in. He's a real good marketer. That reminds me of what Jay always says. It's like, that's Jay's story. How'd you get into the Richard Hart ecosystem? And Agent Jay, he's actually right in the chat down here. But yeah, nice. he's like, I watched Richard Hart, and he was just such a good marketer that I'm like, I'm sold. He's gonna do well. So that's interesting. A cool correlation there.
Yeah, thanks. And then after that, obviously, I followed him, watched basically every single streams after that. And he was really good at answering questions, not dodging questions. That's also very important. Because remember, I got the heavy background in sales. I've been doing sales 20 plus years, you know, because, you know, back home in Africa, I mean, literally everybody is doing sales because it's a matter of survival, you know what I mean? But what it really comes down to is that you're in a people business, right? And where we're from, it's literally like your word is bound, and like it's a matter of survival. If you ever been to a third country, or if you ever been to South America or Southeast Asia, you see some of the people that have like their food stand, and it's like amazing food. But the reason to that is because literally they can't fuck it up. Like they fuck it up, they cannot eat. You get what I'm saying? Like when your livelihood is on the line, like everything is just like serious, and I can see the seriousness. I can see hey, guy's already rich, but he wants that glory. He wants that, you know, that ego to get to say, hey, listen, I can build something great, because he's been waiting. And again, listening to all the rants, rightfully so, because explaining, you know, because I watched it all as he was explaining it too. All the segue, the little infighting, the Bitcoin Cash drama, all this other stuff. I'm like, man, those people out there doing just cash grab left and right, pretending to care about the ecosystem. By the end of the day, for them, it was just money. But Richard really, really having that differential. And I've always been a big proponent of long-term investing, like I said, macro, but making money in my sleep, right? While in investing, we call mailbox money, right? I already have friends who are like doing the real estate game or Airbnb and stuff like that. So I've always been a big proponent of like, hey, park the money, let the money make babies, and then you just
let it work. Let the money work for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I'm out there getting more money because I'm hustling, I'm working on the field, right? It's not in a lazy way where it's like, oh, you just let somebody else do for you. No, you want to make a great investment, park the money creates dividends, so you can free your time to go generate more money so you can accumulate, right?
Yeah. Most people think about it as compound interest in a savings account, but this is like compound interest on top of compound interest.
Exactly.
Because you're earning interest on the money that you're already invested, plus you're earning more money because you've already have that extra time. So, hey, before I continue, I want to quickly just introduce Will and Nate here. So Will, as you can see, is our man driving all the way around the country, the world. He is the man connecting hexagons and pulsicans to each other throughout the United States. Will, give Kareem a little update about your Hex meetup and all that kind of stuff.
Hey, so thanks for the introduction, Brandon. Hi guys, my name's Will Stevenson. I'm an iron worker that does Degen Roundtable on the side. I travel all over the states, meeting people, shaking hands, kissing babies, all that good stuff. I made this little Telegram group that's right down here. You guys can see in this description underneath my name. It is bit.ly/hex_meetup. If you guys are a hexagon, you want to meet up with other hexagons, then go to that little link down there. I'll go ahead and copy paste that and drop it into the chats for you guys as well. But it's essentially just a little Telegram group where hexagons can form their own little small scale meetups. You guys just go in there, you create a room, you create a topic based on whatever state you're in, or you join one of the ones that already exists. And yeah, it's just a super cool little place for Hexicans to meet. So that's the stuff that I do. Other than that, I help host over here on the Degen Roundtable. But yeah, that's a little bit about me in case you didn't know. We've also got Nate McGettit right over here. Nate, bro, for the folks at home who might not know who you are, can you tell them a little bit about you and what you do and stuff?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I am the ascending man, Nate McGettit with the Degen Roundtable, and I'm kind of the guy who sort of I'm more on-chain type of stuff. I guess you could call me the meme coin guy or the Pulse alt guy, because I've been running around looking at a lot of different stuff, and I've made quite a bit of money just putting my money where my mouth is and actually investing in things that I talk about, right? So yeah, that's basically what I do, you know. And then I've got a little bit of the macro stuff as well. Not nearly like the freaking macro wizard that Brandon is over here. Holy crap. But yep. Hey, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic podcast today. So yeah, no, let's get into it.
Thank you, guys. So one other thing that we like to do is we like to, hey, Will, you got that sign on you?
Oh, yes. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you guys already know it's time for chat motherfucking shout outs, baby. I can't see. Am I holding it up correctly? My computer is freezing right now. So
lighting sucks tonight. But
there we go.
Here we go.
Chat shout outs, everyone.
So let's run through these, Mrs. Producer. First one, we got Moon-Pilled Rational Optics. What's up, Degens? Raise your glasses to a toast, to a great show, and even greater gains. Amen. And I believe, Will, you and Moonpill hung out recently, eh?
Yes, I did actually. So I've been doing the network across the states. I hung out with Moon-Pilled Rational Optics over where he's at. So fucking shout out to you, Moon. I had an excellent time. We had some great dinner, some great drinks, and even better conversation and bonding. And then yesterday, I hung out with Josh Chocolate Taints, as you guys might remember from the earlier days in the show. He was one of our fantastic hosts. So shout out to Josh, shout out to Moon-Pilled, and everyone else that I still have yet to go and see and meet across the states as we roll around. So good to see you in the chats, buddy. Welcome. Glad to see that you're here.
All right, let's keep rolling through these.
That's awesome.
We have the Prairie Banana. Like and sub on your way in. Get in, gentlemen. Welcome. Nice to have you. Our very own Centurion 54X. He's usually the first comment. Today he's the third, so
you're late.
What's up, Degens?
Yeah, I remember when I went on the Hex tour too. It's so much fun. I love traveling. So.
Oh yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, bro. That's probably the best thing. Go ahead, Brendan.
I'll just read this one, then you can go, Will. We'll be with Replay Gang. Oh, Jemmy, thank you for checking in nonetheless.
Excellent. Good to see you, Jemmy. Welcome. I was just gonna say though, a quick little short piece that like traveling around and actually like physically meeting Hexicans and going about to like all the states and just like literally spending time and hanging out with people is probably one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done in my life. I traveled the states after I got out of the Marine Corps, and I just met with a bunch of my military buddies. And then like when it came time for like the Degen Roundtable spun up, and I was still doing ironworking and everything, and we were hopping around job site to job site, it was like, hey man, there's probably a ton of people in between, you know, like Rapid City, South Dakota, and Dallas, Texas. And so like anyone that was in that zone, like I stopped by and swing and meet them. Right now, I'm over in Jacksonville, North Carolina, right next to Wilmington and everything like that. And I'm gonna be heading to Dallas next. So anyone who's in between those two places, like I'll swing by and say hi. It'll be awesome. We'll meet up and we'll have a good time. But yeah, like Kareem, you absolutely nailed it on the head, man. Like hanging out with people is the coolest things. I love doing the tours and going and seeing what's going on in the local community.
Yeah, listen, it's good for them. It's good for you. It's good for your soul. It teaches you what I call fundamentals, which is like a lot of the time, especially if you're doing an online community, online people, like it's hard to put the sense of touch and you realize how amazing the community is until you actually go to certain meetup and you meet the people. And for me, I literally I was very lucky to get it to another level because I meet Hexicans around the world. Like everywhere that I've been, I've met Hexicans, people who watch it or even know of Richard Hart, which is really awesome. And already, again, knowing from where I'm from, so I already know the value of, again, traveling, new culture, new food, new people, perspectives that you get to learn. Even when you agree to disagree, you get to learn where people are coming from, because you can see where they grew up or where environment they've been in, so you can understand where that process came from. So now you can add that and get a crypto version of it. It's freaking awesome. So, and right now I'm here in Louisiana. Funny enough, I'm in New Orleans. My best friend Ewan is here, and then we do some work here, and I do some blockchain work as well. So hey, you said anywhere in between. If you swing by, let us know, because I'm usually my home base is Miami, of course, but currently I'm here because I'm handling some business. So yeah. If you swing by, let us know.
Yeah, I'll see what I could do, man. I'm my travel plan right now is Interstate 40, and I believe that's a bit south, so I won't be able to swing down there this time. But at some point within several months, I'm gonna have to go down to Florida again. So I'll keep that in mind, bro. Hell yeah.
Yep, we can all get together. Yeah, next time when you get back in Miami, Kareem, we'll hang out again. But let's finish up these comments. So we have Hexkin Lost in Asia says, glad Kareem didn't have to emergency end stake all his hex. We sure wanted to buy it up.
I'm sure you would, bro. A lot of people would, trust me. Even some of the haters. But listen, I was committed. I got to a point where, I was like, fuck it. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the interview that I did with Maddie, but literally, at some point, when I thought the all end was there, I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna own it, and then I'm just gonna go do my my time, and then that's that, because that's how much I love my hex. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. But
glad you didn't have to.
Yes, exactly.
All right, we got our very own Agent J from the Degen Roundtable. A damn good day for a stream. It is. We got a rate cut today. We got some bullish momentum potentially building, and we're excited.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the bull, LFG. Let us go. Perfect time for a bull. And I believe you just were speaking about this man, Maddie Allen. Maddie, all in. Hex Therapy Live. Sup, y'all? Welcome to have you, Maddie. Always a pleasure, buddy. We've had Maddie on the stream a few times as well, so he's a good friend of the channel.
Nice.
Excellent. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Oh, wait, we got a super chat. Shout out to all my felons out there.
Farmer Jay.
Hell yeah.
Fortunately, I can't join that. You know what I mean? In the US, that doesn't count. Only Turks and Caicos.
That's fucking funny.
Oh, since he let us right into it, there's a lot that's been going on. Yep. You were arrested overseas in Turks and Caicos, and it's interesting because it was a unique time where markets red, everything was down. You probably don't have as much liquid hex or money as you might have hoped for, because anytime that you're laddering out, you're kind of budgeting for certain specific scenarios. But anyway, kind of give us a quick rundown of what happened, why you got arrested, and why they came down so harshly on what seemingly is such a small, next to nothing situation.
Gotcha. Well, let's kind of walk it back together and give everybody the mindset and the peace of mind, right? For some people who know, those who don't know, right? Because my home base is Miami, right? Obviously, we've been in the bear market for a while, and I always tell people, listen, you stay there and you chill, and then I'll be out there, doing my fun stuff, but also hustling, being smart, generating money, trying to DCA and continue to move forward. So I was also, while traveling, also doing in and out, going to New Orleans, because again, my best friend lives here, and then he has a construction company. We built a house. It was awesome. So it's fun. I get to do fun thing, get out of the house, not just looking at screen all day, because if not, it's just going to get you not frustrated, but you just get redundant. Me, I get very bored very easy. And at some point you see the toxicity and the people going nuts. I each other throw on Twitter. I got no time for that. So to me, I was like, being out there, literally doing what I said I always wanted to do, right? Stay, dig, and chill, because I set up my thing. I just live my best life and everything's cool. So that's been going on for a while, traveling new places, blah, blah, blah. And then one of my other very, very good friends, it was his birthday coming up, and then he wanted to go to Turks and Caicos. He even invited me and everything. So that's why the group of us, we ended up going there. That's how it ended up happening. And also because I was supposed to first go to France to see my mom for my cousin's wedding, but I couldn't go because I had less than 6 months left on my passport. They have this special rule you have to have, so I couldn't go to that. And Turks and Caicos, literally, green card resident. You don't even need a visa. You just go there. and it's literally 2-hour flight. So that's how this thing came about. So we arrived there. We were there for about the first 9 days. Awesome, typical tourist stuff. Those who follow me on IG, they know it was just great. Having fun in the villa, whatever, be on boats, just be like tourist stuff. No problem whatsoever, right? And then the last day, when you're trying to go home, literally on the airport, that's where this thing happened. So they found, the box of ammunition in my bag. And again, I have completely forgotten that thing was still in there. That's the honest truth. And the funny thing is, it's been there for months. The reason why I mentioned this other travel is because, again, it's not an issue. It's not a crime in the United States. And they never said anything. I mean, I came with it from the US. You know what I mean? They have the best technology in the world. They can see that. And we're talking about a check bag. Very important. Not like carry on or that. Check bag. Like in the hidden spot, where you throw away your shoes and you're barely, almost never checked on. One of those. And the sad truth is that was on a Tuesday when the guy, that same week, somebody else got, ex-military guy got picked up on a Monday, and another lady got picked up on the Thursday. I was literally, just that week, there's 3 of us that got picked up for the same dumb shit. So it's literally like something that keeps happening a lot, I guess. So then why the timing sucks, it's because, you do the right thing, you budget for your trip, you go in there, take care of your friends, whatever. You have your fun, you spend the money that you budget for, and then you just want to go home, right? Go back to work. Yep. And now all of a sudden, you can't go back to work. You gotta find quickly money for, lawyer, this, that, and all the shenanigans that comes with it. We're talking a pretty penny, not just some chop change. So that's why I literally added to the frustration, because it's like, like anybody that's been on vacation, you have your budget, and then you use the budget, and then you're trying to go home. But the last day trying to go home, that's when this thing happened. So, and then I ended up extending. I think total days I was there for like a month. I think or whatever, a little bit over a month.
So
what was going through your head when they found the bullet, right? Mm-hmm. Or the ammunition, and like they go and they pick you up, and now they basically put you in a holding cell, I'm assuming, right?
Oh, it's even worse than that, because it's like a soul thing, right? So it's like we're at the airport. First of all, they call my friend, because this is where it gets really, really kind of funny too. They call my friend because there's a problem with the luggage at first, because the lady, bless her heart, over there at the counter for American, she made a mistake. She put my name on my friend's check bag, and then my friend's check bag name on mine. So they inverse that. But we're like, no big deal. What's the issue? We're traveling together, whatever. So they call me too. I go back, because the moment we're already in the terminal, we're already past all security, everything. I could see the plane. We're literally 20 minutes to board. So we both back on there, and I'm like, no big deal. No, okay, honest mistake. Yeah, this is my bag. This is his bag. Blah blah blah. No problem. And we're trying to go back in. And then all of a sudden, some other person like, oh, we need to do a random check. So I'm like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean random check? The flight's here. We're about to go. Like, it's a check bag. Don't do random check on check bag. But I was like, all right, whatever. Let's go. Do it, because, we're trying to go, because I'm thinking nothing's going to happen. And then boom, that's when they found the thing. And my first reaction was like, fuck, what is this thing still doing here? Because I had no idea, again, that it was still in there. Damn. And I'm thinking, oh, no big deal, sucks, whatever, fine, ha ha ha, pay me, I'm gotta go. I'm thinking it sucks, but I'm thinking I'm dealing with a fine, which I mean I can go home, give me the bill, I'll pay for it, and it's done. And then all of a sudden, they call detective, this, that, all this weird thing. They start treating you like some, I don't know if I can say that online, but anyway, all of a sudden it's like you some criminal, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a completely different story, whatever. And it was annoying. It was, man, they put you, the handcuffs, all the stuff, but like, it just becomes like a movie star, literally, like you some worse, bad, Then I end up going to a location, I forget the name, but it's like a police or whatever location. Sitting there for 4 or 5 hours, hands behind my back, with still the handcuffs on, sitting there waiting, because there's nothing. I gotta wait for their person to come back and start doing the briefing and stuff. So it took literally 4 or 5 hours just sitting.
That's ridiculous,
before somebody finally got to come talk to me. We went through the whole procedure, all that stuff. Then
if you don't mind, I want to kind of actually drill down into that a little bit. Like, what were you thinking during the 4 or 5 hours you were just sitting there? Like, what were you feeling?
Well, it's a combination of like a lot of feelings going on all at once, right? At first, it's like, first you're annoyed, right? Then you're upset. Then you're upset at yourself, because I'm big about accountability. And then it's like, because you keep thinking it because she's just literally you there by yourself, and you just heard what some of the accusation. Oh, apparently that's when I find out also. Oh, it's a 12-year offense here. I was like, huh, what? So it's like, but there's nobody else that you can blame, right? Because the play gaming games is just like you're not gonna get out. It's just gonna get you more frustrated. So I'm mad at myself for like, why is it still here? And I keep asking this question in my head: how the hell is this thing still here? Like, you know what I mean? But then I quickly also after that. It's like they're going to the phase of grief quickly within 30 minutes. Then I'm taking back control and I'm flipping the switch. That's what I call it. Like I'm gonna be like, all right, nobody's coming to save you. It's just you. Let's figure out what's going on right now, one step at a time. You know, damage control, right? There's no point getting more upset, crying, this, that. It's not gonna change anything. What can you do? What's going on? What's the next step? Boom, boom, boom. My friends kind of stick around, but they put them in another room because they couldn't, quote unquote, stay with me or whatever. And they had their separate interrogation. But then I made that clear. I told the guys, I said, no, this is my bag. It has nothing to do with them. So let them be. So it's like, and I'm thinking, rightfully so, within 24 to 48 hours, because we stayed so long that the flight left. So they had to, best case scenario, wait the following day to catch the next flight. And they can't help me also because, similar situation in mind, we spend the money, and at best, the best way they're going to help me is by being back in the U.S. because you stay here. Turks and Caicos is not cheap. We're talking about $200-300 a night hotels. Crazy. I mean, if you do villas, it's even worse. So it's like, I'm thinking the best way they can help is by first going back to the U.S. They can't stay here because it costs more money. You know what I mean? Because I'm already thinking, rightfully so, whatever's going on is going to cost a lot of money. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you kind of see what's going on, you see the situation, and everybody just keep, including the lawyer, keep telling you about how you're going to go 12 years, this, that, and third, and you need this, and you need that, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm just doing damage control, staying focused, listening to what's been said to me, and basically seeing what my options are at this point. So that was the next best thing that I could do.
So fast forward to you needing money for the bailout, which was a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, actually, before even that,
but you didn't have any weapons, right? You didn't have any weapons.
No,
you just had ammunition, right? So
exactly.
And it was in a checked bag. It wasn't like you could have done anything with the ammunition, even if you had a weapon on you.
Exactly. And the whole box was full. That's the reason it's that many, because it's like, boom, it's like come to the US, return to that. We're at the airport. They also did a forensic on my phone, rightfully so. I have nothing to hide, to look like, I'm not out there, trying to message people, text them like, hey, I'm looking to sell whatever. There's none of that, because again, it's not even mine. It belong to old roommates. So all of that was just literally just a combination of a lot of bad luck. Plus, again, I don't know what the rules of the country, because I've never been to the country, which also helped my defense, because again, I've never been there. So once I'm figuring out that at this point, they don't really care, no offense, I'm got with the thing. It's the possession of it. So I just trying to figure out what the situation is. And this is when they moved me to the actual the post office, the police office, sorry, where I was quote unquote staying there the first time, and which was crazy. But over there, that's the first time I was able to have access to my laptop and my computer, just to let people that I care about know what's going on. And then especially John explaining the situation. And at that point, I'm already making the very, very tough decision when I'm very, very upset on myself. And that's why I almost had tears in my eyes, because that's when I was so like, did that emergency and stake, because I'm running the numbers in my head. I'm talking with the lawyer. He's talking about how much money he's going to need, just like bare minimum retainer of $5,000. You don't have that. Literally, he don't have to stay. He can literally just say F you and then bounce, because he was only there because, it's that kind of, I forget what's the name, but like, the pro bono, by law, you have to have somebody representing you, whatever. But he comes in the first consultation that's free, and he's basically letting you so. And I appreciate his candidness. He's not, lying to me. He's just telling me straight up, this is what the predicament you're on. You definitely need as much help as possible. You need a lawyer. If you don't have a lawyer, then it's going to get even worse, because even basic paperwork filing for stuff, magistrate going to court to speed up the process. If you have nobody doing that for you, your stuff can literally just stand still. You can literally, I give you an example. It's something that somebody that has a lawyer, exactly. Like the one guy that I knew that I met when I was there, he had the best lawyer to he was in and out of there in 2-3 days. But you had nobody. You can literally, for the same basic filing, the paperwork, you can literally just be sitting there for months, because it doesn't move until somebody comes and help you move it and file basic paperwork. And those people over there, they don't care if they're not getting paid. So that's why I was only making the tough decision in my head, like, well, I have to do that at least just to get that representation. My friend can't help me. They already went back at that point. I was by myself because, you know, that's the part when I'm going to the police station. So now I'm like, what are my options? I'm talking to the lawyer. He's talking to me about this big number that I don't have, but he said, hey, get at least a lawyer, pay the retainer. It's going to be very, very slow, right? You can't pay for the fine. You can't pay for nothing. And then you'll be looking at 13 months, bare minimum, better than 12 years, but basically 13 months in prison. And then you might get out after that. So that's kind of the mindset that I was on, because I had to think, again, nobody's coming to save me. It is what it is. It sucks. I pressed the button. I'm very pissed, but I'm getting at least that lawyer. And I'm like, well, it's my mess. I got to clean it. Nothing to do with my friends. Boom, boom, boom. And literally, as I'm doing that and getting, you know, that's when, bless his heart, John hit me up. And then he's like, hey, what if we reach out to the community? I'm like, at first, you know, the pride gets in the way. But I guess it's just like, bro, I'm like, bro, man, they don't, not that they don't care, but it's like, it's not their problem. What does that matter? You know what I mean? It's I see the drama and some of the other stuff. It's just going to be like, I don't know if it's a good idea, you know, but he pushed me, really insisted, hey, you did a lot of things for people, you never know, blah, blah, blah. And then again, we can always do loans, because it's not like, you know what I mean, you always pay people back and you always work and you can generate money. So that's not an issue. So he basically, ultimately, he's the one that convinced me. He's the one that came up with the idea and convinced me to do it. And I said, okay, fine, boom. And then he posted the stuff, because mind you, over there, it's crazy. I barely have access to my phone or laptop, very limited, under supervision, like you being literally like looked on. Like it's almost like you're there with your phone and it's
watching every stroke,
watching over your shoulder, bro. What are you doing? Who you texting? What you emailing? Little weird. Like I had to show them the blockchain stuff. They had to make sure that, what is this thing, you know?
And they don't even know what crypto is, probably.
Exactly. Well, I mean, a few knew, but like, yeah, for the most part, they'd be like, huh? What is it? They thought it was a trick. But then I convinced the lawyer, because I'm telling the lawyer, well, if you don't tell them to let me use my computer, how do you expect me to send you money? You know what I mean? Because I can move things to my account and then send him Zelle. Thank God he had Zelle, so that I can Zelle him some money. So at the time, and the most coolest epic thing, and I explained when I was with Maddie, is that as he does the thing, and then within.
Oh, looks like we lost you.
Like,
oh no!
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Oh
He's
yeah.
back.
Yeah, and that's when, like, I almost, man, I never forget. That's why I almost broke into tears, because, you know how, like, you care, but then you don't want to put it on people. Like, it's just like, because at the end of the day, I'm thinking, you know, we're just, you know, we're investors, we're strangers on the internet. You don't owe me nothing, you know. I mean, because like I told people who know me, like I said, I'm a human being. I just be, you know, I do the right thing because it's the right thing. I care for people, my friends, my community, because there's no agenda. Like, I'm not trying to get something. That's how I always done most of my stuff for free. Not that charging is bad. It's just that that's just who I am. Because when I genuinely give, I give it. That's the stat. So in my mind, I'm like, they don't owe me nothing, no matter what I've done in the past. So that's why John was kind of opening my eyes into that. But even then, I was relenting, you know, because you start seeing there was also negative comments that was coming in, which I expected, of course. But then it's when people start calling me because they saw the post. Because it's hard to call everybody. That's the one good thing about Twitter. It just, everybody gets, a bunch of people get notification at the same time. Your time is limited. You're trying to reach out to people. That post just does that for you. And then at first, some people thought it was a joke, you know, because they're, hey, are you okay? I just saw the message, da, da, da. So I'm texting. And then some people call me. And then, yeah, that's when I got emotion, because it's like, I'm trying to explain. And it's like, bro, I got it, Kareem. I got it. It's just, what is going on? What do you need? I'm here for you.
Yeah, there was
man. It just, my heart just like, I was like, okay, I'm not alone.
And it's a tough time too, right? Like
very, very, bro, because it's like you're borderline.
To be this low in the Hex and Pulse Chain ecosystem. So you're reaching out to a community that's in a depressed state asking for money, right?
Exactly. So, and then you feel bad, bro. You feel bad, a little bit of shame, a little bit like, because like, you know, I hold myself to high standards. It's just like, man, how the fuck? Like, I'm already mad at myself. Like, to the point, like, some of the, you know, have you ever had a little bit of tear of anger? It's not like, it's just like, because it's almost like I've virtually punched myself like 20 times. I'm like, how the fuck? You know, it's just like, but then it's just me. It's just me and myself, and I have to go through that process. I can't blame nobody. It's my suitcase. It's me. I did it.
Yep.
Like, meaning, so it was in there. Like Like I wasn't like, oh, I don't know who that is. No, it's my suitcase. It's my thing. So it's just like, so you have that, and that's why I thank God to this day. My mom don't know. Thank God she'll have a heart attack. So I'm thinking about all these things. So you have all this emotion going on at the same time, but then when you're close friends and people that really care for you, just be like, bro, don't worry about it. There's a time and a place right now. Let's get you out of here. That really give me a breath of fresh air. But like, you know what? I don't have to be so like judgmental on myself just now. Let's get out of the situation first, and then we can do the lecture later. But let's get out.
Yeah, you could figure that out later. So John Anderson, Ewan Anderson, he helps raise the money. I know there was at least one large whale involved that helped raise the money. I know that Matty All In was really pushing for your help. I know that that's
everyone in the chat right now. Hex Monkey, my good friend, Walt called me as well.
Monkey,
He's in the chat right now.
Even Sami threw it out there and was saying positive things. So even though there was a lot of negativity within the community, there's a lot of positivity in the community too. And that's one of the things that makes Hex and Pulse Chain and Richard Hart ecosystem so strong is that, look, we're at 99% down and we're still here, right? We're still looking out for the people that have been building this community. We're not worried always about what we have, but we're worried about helping each other. And that's why we want to onboard people. That's why we want to get people into Hex. That's why we want to get people into Pulse Chain, because we believe in it. And it's the community, honestly, that's strong. Because name another coin that would be here in this moment to help you down 99+%.
Absolutely. And that's why it's like, I already knew, but it's a good reminder, like how good the community is overall. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to take it for granted too, you know, because there's some people out there that just like, and then that was my mindset, or more like, it's not like I didn't believe, it's just I didn't want to take it for granted because they don't have to, and it is my problem. I can't just expect people to just, you know, because I know all the background and everything that you just said, and I know we've been through a lot of that stuff, and then the timing couldn't be any worse, and then for the haters jumping on it too, and some people that don't know me, they don't know the context, all they're going to say that, oh, this is the guy that's online doing that, bless that, and the third, going out traveling. So their hate is already there. So it's just like, sometimes you even wonder, like, man, do I even want to go through all that? I would have just like, sometimes you just take it on the chin, you know. Some people, they just, you know what I mean? Really, that's what they do sometimes, you know. Even some of my girls, I'm like, they don't know to this day. It's just like, oh, you blew me off. We had plans, this, that. I'm like, bro, you have no idea. But I'm like, I don't even want to have to go and justify it, because then they'll feel bad. So I just be like, don't worry, my bad. We'll reschedule. And then that's the next best thing you can do. Because at this time and place, it was a situation.
If you don't mind me saying, before we get off the subject, I actually did kind of want to go back to that. I remember, like, we were about to do a show, and I can't remember which show it was specifically. I think, was it a Whiskey Wednesday or was it our Sunday show, where we were literally in the middle of it, and all of a sudden Jeff pops up in our leadership chat and is like, yo, we got to get Yoon on. He's like, something happened with Kareem. I'm like, wait, I think I heard about that. And this was actually, so we brought him on originally and had him say his message out to the world and the community. Nice. But I remember when he was talking, I'm like, who's this Kareem guy? I legit had no idea who you were, right? And so what ended up happening with that was I just looked just a tiny bit. I looked tiny bit into who you were and everything, and I realized you're asking for money. A lot of people, all that toxicity and hate started coming out. But I realized immediately that, number one, I believe in this community, right? This community is special, and there's a lot of good people here. Number two, you're someone in the community that we need to help now. It didn't matter if I don't know who you are or not, right? You're a community member with me, right? And so we're trying to help each other. Okay. And that was the first thing that was going through my head. So I was like, you know what? The entirety of my paycheck from all of my money printers that I have, I took all of that and I just donated it to you. And I was like, I don't care if you're going to pay me back or not, because that's not the deal. I'm trying to help, right? Trying to help a community member, just like the rest of you guys watching right now. I think we all need to work together because we are the number one community.
That's the goal. That's the goal. And again, this is why I always find a way to, I always tell people, pay it forward, right? This is actually one of the main reasons why I told you right away. I think that was you, not Brent. That was you that DM'd me. So that's why I was like, hey, I'll be on, and I really appreciate it, because again, that's who I am. That's how I was raised. And what I love about what you did too is remind everybody, like, it's like either or, like donation or we can do loan, whatever it is, no pressure. Like, it's just, the goal is we're trying to get out of there. I always pay my data. I always done that. And down the road, it's something that I will always be forever grateful. And the people who donated, and a lot of them are close friends, is like, there's no amount of money. Like, it's just like, bro, I'm with you for life. Like, it's just like, you need something. If it's within my capacity, I'm always going to be there for you. Because again, that's who I am. That's how I was raised. That's where I'm from. Because real recognize real. And, we're a dying breed out there. But that's what they also say, quality over quantity sometimes. So, because if we stick together, that's how we actually win. That's what got me also into Hex, and why I got big into the Hex. All the people that I've helped throughout many years, not asking anything in return. I would just say, hey, just help me educate somebody else. Let's onboard, let's educate, let's do all that. You know what I mean? And in 2035, we'll be in the golden yacht. You know what I mean? And the mission is still there. I know people think it's a joke, but we're pushing towards that. So when I was sitting there, funny enough, I was like, nah, I'm not losing that dream. I'm like, I'm gonna go. I was literally this close. I'm like, I'm going in this jail 13 months. I made a joke to myself, like, hey, worst case scenario, hey, you're still getting daily payouts, and then you just go in, and then, hopefully when you, the bear market is over. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of find a way to, boost myself a little bit, because I was like, that's how much I believe, man. That's like, bro, I have 4.5 years, like, makes no sense, bro. I've watched my account do crazy stuff, and now we're getting a nice little bounce too, but it's like, it's beyond that at this point. It's like, I'm really here for the long term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And let's be honest, I think anyone that was throwing shade your way or being hateful, or either one, they're jealous, or two, they really have barely been in the market for that long, and they really haven't been in the Richard Heart ecosystem that long, because they haven't seen how many people you've onboarded. They haven't seen how much money that you've brought into this market. They haven't seen all of the streams that you've done consistently to help drive Hex up in price. And you were one of the big people to do that for a long time. And so people are thinking that you were here just to grift from people. They didn't see you here as the foundation in the beginning. Exactly.
But, it's funny, because that's what I also realized, like I've done in the past, and telling people, where it's like a lot of them, they just don't know. So it's this lack of education. And this is why also one of the reasons why I started back in the day, and then we ended up pumping, 50, 75X, because I was telling people back then too, some of that anger is just misplaced. It's just because people are frustrated because they don't understand, and if you don't understand,
some great frustration too.
Exactly. So I always say this, if you don't understand why something is going up, you won't understand why it's going down. And both times you will always lose money. And what's going to happen is you're going to know the price of everything and the value of nothing. It's very deep what I just said. And that's why when something is undervalued, once you fully understand, you know when it's time to buy. When something is overvalued, or something that don't really have any hype, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean you're not going to make money, but you're going to quickly just move that money somewhere else, because you know that this thing is just an anomaly. It's not supposed to pump that much. But hey, sometimes you get those swings, so you just want to capitalize quickly and then move on. And that was really what separates. So that's why I already understood what needed to be done. And I know some of the haters too, I don't give them no credit, but like some of them, it's just a manipulation. I could see it, because they just wanted me to eat yes. That was their goal. You know what I mean? They're just like, and I'm like, I'll be damned, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Like, so obviously I don't want to go for 12 years. So that's why I had to push the button on one, but I was willing to do the 13 months and then be like, you know what, fuck it. It is what it is. And at that point, I'll look at it like also skin in the game. I was like, all right, cool. I learned from that. But that was the thought process. The same way now, moving forward, one of the reasons why I'm here is because, I'm actively working since I came back. I've done already past over 15 hours of like paying back, because there's a big Hexagon I'm doing chain analysis for that donate the money. So I'm starting with him, and then after when I'm tackling him, I'm going to tackle everybody else that, get their loans. So it's like I'm already actively working to pay people back. I'm not sitting here waiting, because the thing is still ongoing, right? I'm out on bail technically. They got my $40,000 over there. I know for a fact that probably close to half is not coming back. But the thing is, now that there's no expedited services, this whole process could be dragged a year and a half, because it's all virtual now. So what I'm doing is, instead of just waiting for that money to come back and pay people back, I'm like, no, I need work now, because I've always been good at generating, paying people back, irrespective of what happens, as soon as possible. So if I get some of the money back by the time this thing is all said and done, then it's just back into my pocket, instead of waiting, so that way I can try to pay people back faster. So that's
good. I'm really see. That's what's really important when you got someone like you who's like, yes, this is basically like a loan, guys. Please, it's not like charity. I'm going to run off with the money, and that's the thing that That's the thing that I knew was going to be different. As soon as you're like, yeah, I know I'm going to be working to pay it back. It's like, okay, that right there, that's what I was hoping to hear, right?
Exactly.
Because
and the full disclosure too, all that. And again, shout out to my friend Yoon and having all that, because again, it's hard when you literally have. I want everybody to understand this. For those who didn't watch the video, like we're talking now, you're sitting on a cell, which is literally your bathroom is bigger than that place. You understand? It's probably the size of a car. I kid you not. It's literally like so small. Imagine like a double bunk bed on the corner, but it's all concrete. You're sleeping on a deflated mattress, which is like this thick. So basically, you're sleeping on the floor, right? I'm about 6'2", 6'3", so it literally barely fits my body. No sheets, no nothing. Sometimes at night, the AC is on. You're literally just cold. You're just there, holes in the roof. I mean, it's just the craziest situation you would think. And then literally, you have to literally just sit down, think deep. 23-hour confinement because you're not allowed to get out. You only get out to maybe go when it's time to go take a shower. And in the corner, there's a toilet, which is where you go and go to the bathroom.
Yikes. I got a question to ask you when we come back from chat shoutouts. But yes, we do need to be running into that. What do you think, Brendan?
Well, yeah, so I figure we'll stay on this topic for another 10, 15 minutes, and then we want to get into some other things with you because we know that you are a wizard from a macro standpoint, from a TA standpoint, and we've had some green candles. We had a Fed cut today, so we want to get to some of that as well. But let's
just so people know, there's a full interview that I've done with Maddie. You guys can go watch it out there. I broke everything down, because again, we could talk about policy thing, but I wanted to come here in case people had questions that hadn't been answered. So
we appreciate
a 2-hour interview with Maddie breaking everything down for those who haven't seen it.
And that was a great interview. I'm glad that you were on there. It was fantastic. Opened a lot of eyes. And, man, just to hear the depth of what you went through, it's mentally that I feel like sometimes the most challenging.
Yes, sir.
So let's quickly – we got a whole bunch of new people that joined the chat. So let's go through a few chat shout-outs here, and then we'll get back into the meat of the conversation. Mrs. Producer, so ring these up, please. HJ, the art of face-to-face interaction is slowly being eroded. We need more of it now more than ever. Isn't that true? It's like even in crypto, it's like some people just are never outside. You hear the people talk about going out and touching grass, right? Like get out there, go meet people, go see people face-to-face. Don't just stand behind your computer and get angry. Like let's go meet people. Let's go out there and build.
Very well said.
Debased. BTC teleported to 62.5K. And if I refresh my screen, it is at 62.5K currently. So it's
I can't wait until we get to talk about that because it's funny. Telegraph. I don't know if anybody watched the show I did with Maddie yesterday, and literally the best case scenario that I was talking about happened. That's awesome. We'll break that down too.
Yeah, actually, right. If you the very next comment under that is Jay saying, hey, if you were in our Telegram, we literally just got done going through exactly why there's so much bullish momentum with Bitcoin. So it's like there is a lot of alpha in our Telegram, guys.
So every time that something big happens, we have a live Telegram feed within our Telegram channel. Today, we actually Dace and Jay hosted a live watch party for the Fed Powell meeting, all the questions. And then we spent another hour and a half after that talking about it, what it meant, answering questions from the community. So if you're in our Telegram, you would have got that free content live.
Nice. Yeah, I watch it live too. Powell's is such a G. And I even tweeted about it. Like he has one of the toughest jobs. People don't give him enough credit. But I use this good analogy of like, we talk about, the terminology, the soft landing. Imagine he's like the pilot of a 747, right? And literally there's like one engine and a half left out of 4, right? Autopilot doesn't work, right? There's 300 passengers on the plane trying to land, and the passengers are fighting each other, arguing about some dumb stuff, not paying attention that the plane might actually crash, so they're worried about the wrong thing. And you got all this distraction. And people trying to get into the cockpit to try to tell him what to do when he's trying to land the thing. That's the best way to explain how difficult a job he's having right now.
No, it's a challenging job. In the Telegram, we said that Powell might be the most powerful person in the country because the Fed oftentimes might have more. You don't see the Fed write letters to the president, but you had Elizabeth Warren and a bunch of politicians writing letters to the Fed to try to get them to cut rates by even more because they want, their administration. But anyway, we're not getting into politics tonight. But let's continue with these chat outs so we can continue this conversation.
Sure.
Bang, bang. Okay, Hudson.
Yes, that's my line. If you know, you know.
It is.
It's awesome. Pompliano took it from me. I've been saying this for years.
The OG. I know.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Sizzle. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. Keep those steaks. Don't emergency on steak.
Boom. Yeah.
Amen. Hex Monkey. Kareem.
My brother from another mother right there. Big bro. That's my big bro right here. Solid. Tam, I'm sorry I'm late. She's awesome, by the way.
She is. She comes to every one of our streams. She listens to everything from our book clubs that we have on Friday nights to our flagship shows on Sundays to our Whiskey Wednesdays. She's one of the biggest cheerleaders for the community, and super happy to have her.
What are you talking about? She is number one. She's the biggest.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say,
we'll
let it slide this time that you're late, but don't let it.
She's one of a great example of what I'll call a very, very solid Hexican, in a sense where it's like I've told people back in the day, oh, Kareem, but I don't know this, I don't know that. I'm like, listen, I'm so grateful that you even took the time to come here and listen and you want to learn. You know what I mean? Because one of my first jobs, fun fact, how I got my Social Security here in the United States is I was a math tutor. I was like, oh, I'm very good with numbers, very good with math. So I was like, I want to work and I want to get my paperwork. So let me do that. And one of the coolest things I always tell people is like, I love to teach, I love to educate, as long as I feel like I'm not wasting my time. And people are literally willing to learn, willing to listen, and trying to apply. I don't care if it takes me 5 hours, I will be there with you because I can genuinely see that you want to learn the same way. My mentors and the people that I learn from, because I'm very big on personal development, the seminars that I've been through, they've been very, very patient with me. My way to reward them was, I was paying for the seminar and the goal because I wanted to learn because they're busy. But I can see how they took the time to really, really instill that to me. And I always wanted to see that in other people too. So and there's a lot of Hexican like her. But she's a great example. Yeah, and she has one other comment that is amazing. If you can bring that up, Mrs. Producer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is wild.
And the next one.
I saw that. It's fire.
I just onboarded the guy who invested in this evening. And
that's what I call it, onboard. Welcome to the club. It's awesome.
Salud. I'm going to drink the last little sip of my my drink here.
And the timing is perfect, too. So,
Perfect timing.
Good new investors and then pointing them to the right streams to be.
But that's what we need to do. We need to keep onboarding people and not worry about all this infighting. Just continue to try to onboard people. That's how we're gonna go. Exactly. We're still very small compared to the pool of people that we can bring in. So that's why I said, stay in the real world. There's still a lot more people that don't know about crypto. I know it's crazy. Yes, we've been here, crypto, 15 years, but it's still small compared to the people that we can bring in. A lot of people have heard of it, but that doesn't mean they have invested in it. Right. And this is where the one-on-one, the face-to-face really matters, because we're getting to a point where we're making the noise. But now this is the part where you have to really, really do the education part and the teaching part. Because if not, you're just becoming the redundant thing on the radio that's just annoying and not the thing that's supposed to come in and do the one-on-one. Yes, it requires time. Yes, it requires you might have to drive to somebody. Like I used to tell people, looking in your heart, go to the people. Don't be lazy. Don't be like, oh, but I tried once or twice. Yeah, but did you really try? And when was the last time? Did you try to patronize them? Did you try to yell at them? Or did you really, really sit down, really just say, hey, give me a chance. Let me explain this to you. It's very important. It's two different things. And for me personally, I've been asked to speak a lot recently at random conventions that aren't crypto related, but I'm a Christian. I got asked to talk to this young professional Christian group, Catholic group recently. 100 people showed up, which they normally have 40 people at the talk. I'm actually giving an intro to blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies at a local college here in Miami. They asked me to give a guest presentation at a local college here in Miami. So I'll be giving that. I think they have about 60 students in that class as well. It's little things like that. It starts with just explaining what crypto is and blockchain technology, and then it get people interested and it branches out from there. So I've really been slowly starting to get asked more and more just to give introductions to these random groups of people. And it's been going really well. The feedback has been phenomenal. People have been a little bit less guard up because I'm teaching. I'm not saying, hey, you should buy this. I'm explaining to you what the technology is, why I think it's important. And yes, there are some pitfalls that you have to watch out for and some worries that you have to, understand going into it. But this is a technology of the future. And that's something that you need to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. And you touched on something very important that I literally teach the people is that, again, you're teaching, you're not selling. One of the reasons why back in the day, and I still do from time to time, I was, great at sales. And I tell people I'm not a salesperson, I'm a sales professional. And the difference is your goal is to teach, not to sell. Because you can sound salesy. It's kind of like what I call it, like you have what I call commission breath. Like people can sense it, people can feel it, and people and then they shut down. They don't want to hear what you have to say because they know that it feels like it's not genuine. Versus if you're coming from a place where, hey, I'm good, number one, I really want to educate you on this. I really want to teach you. I really want to answer your question. I just want to share my experience with you. Now, all of a sudden, they get to see the vision and they get to see if they want to be part of the movie, right? Or just be on the sideline. But at least it doesn't feel like it's forced. And that's really, really the key difference, the key transition. And also, don't look down on people in the sense of, oh man, they're college student, they're broke, they got no money and this, that. You never know. Some of my biggest onboard, millions of dollars, retiree. People will be like, oh, yeah, they're too old, they're too this, they're too that. Boom, change their mind. You never know. There's some old people that got a very, very sharp mind. Or like, oh, those are young, broke, this, that, and the third. But you don't know who they know, right? It's literally a game of network. The person that you look down on can have an uncle, auntie or whatever, family member, distant that also have inheritance money or bunch of money you never knew about. I've seen that a ton in Miami. You in Miami understand that networking is really the key because you never know who you're gonna meet, and you should never judge. Period. But it's just like educate. Remove that commission breath. Set better expectation so that way you don't get also frustrating and mad because sometimes people that be Kareem and I try and this and I can see how they're agitated. I'm like, you're the teacher. You can get mad at the student if the student don't get it. You're just a bad teacher. You need to understand that sometimes the problem is you. Your delivery is wrong. You need to be able to self-reflect, realize like, wait a minute, a lot of people have been saying X, Y, and Z. A lot of people are not getting it. How this person is onboarding or getting it, and I'm not getting it. So it says less about them, more about you. And then you should be able to look at it inward, not in a judgmental way like I suck, but be like, hey, what can I do better? How can I communicate the message better?
Look, and that's something that I'm trying to continue to tweak little by little so that I'm going right to the point, short and concise. And because look, it is challenging for people to understand blockchain technology. It's challenging to understand how you can create value out of an algorithm in a computer, right? I understand that that's difficult for a lot of people to wrap their head around. And so it takes us a little bit of practice, a little bit of change here, change there, to get the message out to our audience in a way that they can understand it better. And my now fiance, when we first met, I explained to her about crypto, and she, I won't say laughed me off at first, but she was like, okay, okay, sure, yeah, I'll give you a chance. And I explained
the eye roll.
I spent about an hour going through it with her and explaining, and she's like, that's the best explanation anyone has ever given me about cryptocurrency. And she's like, it actually makes sense. Yep. And I was like, it's all it takes is just a conversation with someone. And I'm in sales too, by the way, Kareem. And Will is too. And I'll tell you, if you want to be good at sales, don't sell anything. Create relationships. Relationships continually benefit you long term, and that is how you're going to generate business. And that is a relationship business.
Because to do a relationship, you have to
keep your customers.
Yeah.
Amen, brother. I feel you.
That's really the key. And what's funny? I told people the reason why most people suck at sales or don't like sales is very simple. I've debunked it many years ago, and I told people is because number one, they had a very, very bad experience with a salesperson, which was doing all the wrong thing that I talk about. The commission break, the breath, the desperation. You can sense they don't really care about you. The over upsell. They literally all do the wrong thing. So that bad memory is there. So then they automatically think everybody's like that. It's kind of like back in the day in crypto. So many scam, right? It's 98% bad, 2% good. So it's very easy to just say, hey, it's all bad, right? And ignore the 2%, even though the 2% does exist. So you have to remind that to people that, hey, it's a bad experience. Let me show you why this is different. Number two, you will also see that you have to be genuine and you have to actually care. Because I met some people who are like, They've had those bad experiences. They don't want to sound like those people, but they ended up sounding like those people. Understand that you're not better than them. You're a human being just like them. The problem is you're not self-aware about how you sound sometimes when you're around people. And it takes a lot of training. People think like some of us, we just, right, Brandon, we just woke up, we just gifted sales. Yeah, you're just born with talent. No, we sucked at first too, just like everybody else. But we went back at it. We really, really care. And again, where I'm from, it's like it's a matter of survival to some extent. And also, we don't know how to be someone else but real, because we've been through so much shit and so much real stuff that it's like we don't have time for the fake stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. Hit the nail on the head. Let's get through the rest of these chat shout outs. We got a bunch of comments in here tonight. Thank you, chat, for being so active.
That's awesome.
Miss Producer, who we got next?
Yeah, like and subscribe, guys. Like we're bringing you the best quality content. Come on.
Tam to the rescue. Thank you, Arth. Luna C Point. Hey, gang. Welcome. Arth, Kareem is great, full of great information. And since he started doing live streams again, the price keeps going up. And let's hope it continues that way, baby.
We're just getting started. Get ready. We're running another 50x easy from here.
And the next year is going to be insane. Crypto Sloth, our boy, the crypto dentist. Yo. Sloth's been on our channel a few times. We even did a how to create a coin with Crypto Sloth here one time.
Don't buy DRT. It's just a meme.
It was a learning experience.
Well, you guys don't have to worry about me. I ain't creating a coin.
No, we aren't either. We got Debased. Kareem and the Whales are the guys that got me into Hex in 2020. Hex to the moon. Hell yeah, buddy.
I'm glad you remember that. That's awesome. I need to reach out to Wells. It's been a minute.
Access Alive. 5555 fam. We in it to win it. Cheers, Kareem and Degen Roundtable fam. Access is a great friend of the channel. Been on multiple times, and I think we're going to probably have him back on here again soon. So keep an eye out in several weeks for another guest episode with him. IQ. Kareem's energy was instrumental in bringing me here 100%. He's like a second in command to Richard Hart. Amen, brother. Yeah, there's a few people that have been, super vocal, super great in the community. Kareem, RG3. I mean, there's a bunch of people out there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and when Rich was here, that was awesome too. Never forget that.
Brightline Crypto, welcome. Hello. Crypto Compassion. Hey, everyone. Cosmic consciousness is real. Let's move this forward.
Amen to that.
Yep.
So
Tin
true.
Top. What's up, Hexicans? Welcome to have you as always, buddy. Paul Sachs. Good to see you, brothers.
I'm moving nicely.
Hope the nicknames haven't been too harsh. Best wishes to you, bro. Nah, keep it up. We love the jokes, Paul Sachs. We love the jokes.
Well, I've had the craziest joke too. I saw when I was on Twitter and memes and everything.
Oh yeah. Mr. Rock Jockey. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. Falcon Crypto. Hello, guys. First time catching guys live. Awesome. Really appreciate that. Always appreciated of people that are watching us for the first time or second time or many times.
Yeah.
And please like, subscribe if you're first time here.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Ash. He's awesome. Real recognize real. That's facts. Big facts. He show up really Maddie sometimes, so that's awesome.
That is true. Real recognize real. That's facts. King of the only way to earn trust. Keep it real. Amen.
Yes, sir. And I'm excited because I feel like kind of like again, not to sound too religious, but it's more because I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious, but it's like I feel like I was telling Maddie and on that stream and other people, like I genuinely, from when I got here, I felt like Donald Trump with the bullet that just passed by, because it's like what is God, whatever he's trying to teach me. I always look at it like that, or like he brought me back here for a reason, because literally in my mind after I pressed that button, right, I was like, all right, cool. I already set my piece. 13 months gone. So the fact that I was able to, long story short, get back here and not have, I'm like, all right, for the next 12, 13 months, you know what I mean? I look at it like just gratitude is my number one weapon. So it's like, well, look, I wasn't even supposed to be here, but here I am. So let's double down and being more productive. And it's so funny because right around the same time, before even this happened, I was already planning on starting to stream again, because at first, I have so many videos and we did it for so many years, back 2021 and stuff. I didn't want to sound redundant. and we were in the bear market anyway. So, and when I see some of the negativity, sometimes it's also a good test to see who's really here for the long term and who's just here to, you know what I mean, kumbaya when it's nice. But then you see their real colors too when they start to like the price is no longer good. So all of a sudden they're trying to turn on you, turn on Richard or whatever. So I think we flush a lot of those people out, you know what I mean, for the most part. So the timing couldn't be any perfect per se, and the macros kicking in as well, doing all those things. So
and we're gonna get into that really shortly. And look, I've been saying the more people that get washed out, the less resistance on the way up. That's just the bottom line.
Just define the bullish diversion right there.
Yeah,
that works. Exactly. That's how it works.
Last question on the topic of what you're going on. So just tell the people, what's your
Before
situation
we do that,
now?
we do.
Still a chance.
Before we do that, we did just get a super chat.
Okay. Well, that was in the middle of the question.
Oh,
all right. We have a super chat. Let us bring that in. Thank you, Nate.
Thoughts on Richard? Yep.
Debase. Thoughts on Richard Hart SEC case. Court date come October 24th. Thinking of attending that, and they meet up just 1 month away. Yes. So we talked about this last Whiskey Wednesday. We had a guest on for the Pulse Chains conference. By the way, if you want to use the code DGEN, you will get a discount on your Pulse Chain conference. We have the most people signed up on of any discount code. DGEN Roundtable is the most people signed up with their discount code. So I am going to get to this question. I think this is a really important question that we get to. So I'm going to table this for about 5 minutes while I ask this other question, and then let's get right into that. So Debase, that is fantastic. I think it's one of the biggest questions. It's something I really want to talk about. But Kareem, so just tell people what's happening now. Is there still a chance you'll go to jail? How does the rest of this get wrapped up?
Okay, so the short version is, I can be a little candid because at least, you know, I'm no longer stuck on the island, you know, because I got to watch out, whoever may watch this, is for those who don't understand the process. So I'm quote unquote out on bail. The reason why it's 40,000 that they have, it's because there was two levels, right? There was the bail because I'm not in the jail anymore, but I'm stuck on the island. And there's a second level where they give me my paperwork so I can fly back to the United States and be productive like I am now, because I no longer have what's called expedited services, just regular process, and court stuff take a while. We're talking about a year and a half, but it's now virtual. So it's just literally to send me a link and I'll just follow up to that. So they have that money. Now, the best case scenario that I look at is when this thing is all said and done, what's going to happen is, because I'm pleading not guilty, of course, like many people behind me, it should come up with a fine. The previous guy that I can compare myself to, he had 40 round, mine is 50, and his bail was 40,000, but he ended up paying 7K total. Now, obviously, I have more than him, so my speculation is it's going to be at least 10, possibly 20,000.
So 10, 20,000, and then you get the rest back.
Yeah, but the way it works is that, because that's why they messed it up with me, which was crazy, was the court has the first 20,000. And then the other 20,000, I had to give it to my friend that helped me out, because what happened is they did a bail variation, because I used to have what's called a surety, which my friend put his car, $150,000 Suburban, as a collateral. That's basically what it is, a surety. But then when they did the variation, I thought I gave them 20,000, which I did, and then I can just go and then be on bail that way. But then they insisted at the last minute, literally the next day, which is insane, that although I gave them the 20K cash, my friend's car collateral has to stay 35,000, which is insane, which doesn't make no sense. And obviously he panicked. He didn't want to do that because he's like, Kareem, I love you, but you know, if you're going back to the country, I don't feel comfortable leaving my vehicle over there. So I almost ended up going back to jail. Literally, that's how crazy it was. I convinced him, like, bro, I'm good. I'm not going to do you wrong. Like, I don't need this paperwork right now. I can just stay on the island until we figure this out. That's why I needed the extra 20,000, which then came. So what I did was I made a deal with him, him, and then also with the help of John. So basically what we did was we gave him, the vehicle stays there as the collateral because I don't have any other choice. We gave him the second 20,000, and then we did a promissory note equity for 15,000 because his surety is 35,000. So the totality is 55K. That's how insane it is.
Insane.
But now the good news is he has the other 20K cash and the court has the first 20K cash. I'm thinking worst case scenario, if the court's trying to finesse, they're going to keep that first 20K. Because remember, they can say the final fine is 7,000 like my other guy, or 10K, or they can just say it's 20,000. You don't know. It's whatever they say. They can just keep the whole thing. But let's say even if they do that, my friend's vehicle is off the hook, and then I can recuperate that other 20,000, right? Which he currently has, because the worst case scenario, I'm only going to say this once, is that if they say some crazy stuff while I'm doing this thing online, and I got to go back there and potentially be, stuck in there 12 years, I'm not going back. That's just, you know what I mean? And at that point, I'll just lose the funds and then just never go back there, because that would be crazy. But we're talking about like less than 5% chance. But again, probability is non-zero. You get what I'm saying? This is what I'm thinking right now. This is why I'm hustling the way I'm hustling right now. I'm thinking that 40K is gone, which honestly, between me and you, maybe secretly they wish that, because why would they give the money back? You know what I mean? They got it. You know what I mean? Lawyer got it 15, 20K. I spend at least $8,000 overall between hotel stays, whatever. I mean, it's money to the, so, but I will be fucking damned. I'm going to try to get this money back as much as possible to the very moment when they say, screw you, because the way it goes, like, we're going to a hearing. The next hearing is literally October 24th. Funny. That's the joke. Same thing.
Wow.
and I'm thinking about, me and John, we're thinking about going to New York for the event. So I'm trying to do both. So we're doing that, and then whatever the next hearing is, whatever the next hearing. So I don't know. So, but it will be hearing, another hearing, then it's plea, then it's the accepted plea or not, then it's verdict, and then you know what time it is. So if it ends up just being a fine, I'm expecting some of that money back. If it's not, then I'm just not going back. That's just the truth. And at that point, I just personally lose the money, because I'm already working on paying people back. In my mind, I counted that money is gone, so I'm just paying back the loans.
And that's a smart thing. So thank you for filling everybody in. So we're happy that you're here in the States. We're happy that you are free, and hopefully the justice system is just. That's what it boils down to. But not every country is just. Look, even in our country, we have issues of justice not being just.
It was a combination of bad time too, because literally, just give you guys perspective, like they only have one judge. The other two judges went on vacation. This judge was literally the worst out of the lot. And he literally even bragged about it in court, saying that, he's not bound to do what his predecessor colleague have done. He's basically saying, because usually the play, what people do is they kind of like low-key, play guilty, but then file for expedited special circumstances, saying, which is true. We didn't know. First time on the island. We don't know the law. We didn't know it was there. You know what I mean? Give me the slap on the wrist. Let's keep it moving. But he refused that. He says, no, if you go this route with your plea, because he rejected at first, and then he reminded us in court, tell my lawyer, if I'm taking this plea, I'm going to assume that he knew and he purposely brought it here. In other words, I will give you 12 years. So that's why we had to change it to like not guilty. I know that's so crazy. We had to change it. And when we change it, now all of a sudden, it's an actual fucking trial, because now you're playing not guilty, rightfully so. I'm not going for 12 years. That's crazy. I didn't. But now everything gets dragged, and it becomes the typical, why could I end up being, let's just wrap it up, you know what I mean, and make a fine, and that's it. Turn it to now we're literally going to trial. So that's why this happened. And it's because of that particular judge.
What a dickweed.
I wonder if he knows that he has ruined like that country's reputation as a safe place to be.
Big time.
Like as far as like justice is concerned, like I know I'm not going to that fucking place. Like I love shooting as much as the next guy, but if I happen to roll over there with like some fucking 22 rounds in like my back pocket or something, like I ain't gonna play this fucking game. Hell no. So they're missing out on all whatever like my economic energy is. Whoever listens to this show that thinks the same thing, whoever you work with or whoever you talk to throughout your entire lifespan, everyone's going to hear this negative story about this place. And like this judge isn't going to be able to fix that. So like sayonara, all this money that could be coming and helping out their community over there. He has ruined the branding and the reputation of that country with his moves.
It's so bad, because another worst part is there was a lady literally like, it was her, she had it, and she had the husband and 2 kids, and literally it was just they completely forgot something that was there. It was just one bullet, but then they did the same spiel. And then one guy, he had the gun also, permit, all that. They don't care. You could be like, because they said the permit has to be given by the chief of police of the island. So in other words, you could be thinking like, no, I knew, I bring it purposely for my personal safety, whatever. I have all my permits, blah, blah, blah. They'll still book you. Because they're going to say, well, the chief of police of here didn't issue this to you.
Yeah, and I'll end
Yeah.
I'll end this with this. The number one industry for any of those islands in that area is tourism. So for them to be so harsh on a tourist is rather rare, and that's an island that I think we need to be a bit more worried about, because if like, how are you going to promote tourism if you're going to lock somebody up for 12 years for a mistake? You know,
Exactly.
it wasn't even harmful towards anybody in that moment, or even in the future moment. So, look, it is what it is. We're happy that you're here. We're happy that you're back. We're happy that you can stream again and get this Hex price pumping. So, hey, we got that super chat. Let's bring that back up from Debased and Kareem. So you had mentioned that you were considering maybe going to New York for this event.
Yeah. Oh, we're definitely going. Me and John are definitely going. The only way, if I'm not attending live, is only if literally my quote-unquote virtual court is at the same time. But we were already planning on going there. We know some Mexicans over there. I think it would be a cool time to stream and get that done. So the timing will be perfect. And then, because who knows, if we're lucky, I don't want to jinx it, but if we're lucky, we may get that motion to dismiss. And then if we do, this event might be so critical that after that, soon after, we get, case resolution. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying 100%, but that's why it's such a big deal. And, we want to be there in attendance just so that we can stream. And
look, I know a lot of people that are going. I know multiple people from the Degen Roundtable are going. I know people from overseas are going. Debased, if you can be there, that's great. Just a reminder to the community, this is a court case. So dress like you're going to a courtroom.
Yes.
Put on your suit. Don't wear your hats, right? Look professional, because we want to show up and say these are professional people supporting Richard Hart because we believe in it and we know that what we bought into. And on top of that, RSVP on pulsechaintour.com, pulsechaintour.com/tour-events. So for the Richard Hart hearing, because we might be able to get a larger courtroom for more people to join if we can tell how many people are going to be showing up. And two, there's going to be a crypto seminar the next day on Friday the 25th, protecting crypto rights. And there's a chance that one of Richard Hart lawyers might actually speak at that conference. Now, we're not 100% sure. No guarantee about that, but they haven't said no yet. So that's benefit. So also RSVP to that event. But there's a lot of people that are going to be there. But let's show up. I'm hoping to, not 100%, but let's show up and let's support the man that built such great.
I think it's a great idea also because it will show it's not only sign of strength, but it will show to the judge, prosecutor, like we mean business. We're for real. We didn't get scammed. We know why we're here. Like that, I think will just really goes to show, because a lot of the time people in the real world or whatever, they look at crypto like we some bots. You know what I mean? No, we real people. We do exist. We know what we're doing. And then you have no jurisdiction over here, no case. So let it go. I think that's
and look, I don't think they already. We've hashed this. We've gone over the case multiple times on this show. We have our lawyer expert side with Zenith, who actually will be speaking on one of the panels at the conference about this case, which is great. But look, I don't think the SEC has a leg to stand on. I think Richard Hart's going to smash this case. And look, we're just building some strong bullish momentum. Speaking of bullish momentum, Kareem, today we had a Fed meeting, and they cut rates by 50 basis points. What do you think? What do you feel about that?
Okay, so a couple of things, and that's especially for the people who didn't watch the stream yesterday. I was mad because I literally telegraphed that, and we do this every Tuesday. So when you guys get the chance, please watch it, because I'm going back on the weekly schedule. So two things. Number one was this was highly, highly anticipated because, first of all, this was a historical meeting because the last time they cut rate was literally in 2020, so almost 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So that's why it was very highly anticipated. We knew they would cut. We knew there would be a minimum of 25, possibly 50. And like I told everybody yesterday, the only difference, the only way 50 is good is in the way that Powell spoke today, which was awesome. So just to put into perspective, at first, 25 basis point was the best play. Because when you cut rate historically, and I can show you from the chart, if you cut too fast, you can signal the market, big investor, that actually something is wrong. Because after the yield curve has uninverted itself back to normal, the regular play of, bad news is good news and good news is bad news actually start to invert itself back to normal. So in other terms, if you cut too much, that means like you don't really believe that the economy is doing well. Because if it really is doing well, then why are you so desperate to cut so fast after holding it up for so long? So he had the perfect excuse to do so because, again, he holded it for so long. Rates of inflation went down significantly. We're still at 2.5. We're still not around 2, but we're no longer around 3 anymore. So he has that excuse. And because the labor market was soft, he doesn't want to be behind the 8 ball like the previous time where, again, the Fed has historically been known to be late, right? Either they raise rate too late or they cut too late. So this time they wanted to show the market that we're not making that same mistake again. We're not going to be behind the 8 ball. And that's why I told everybody that if he cuts 50, and I told everybody, he got to have the best conference he ever had, the best speech of his life. And he did. He freaking did. That was awesome. Like, he even cracked a joke at the conference. He was laughing when the guy asked him the question, a couple of questions. You can see he was, what did you do? You see the body, he was calm, happy, smiling, crack a joke with the people. It's like, he already knows that we did it. We're soft landing this baby. So the market could sense that. And he explained it well. I'm cutting 50 because we hold it for long. Inflation is going down significantly. We can see it. And we want to show the market that we're not behind the 8 ball because we are seeing some sign of the inflation creeping his ugly head a little bit. But we're still at close to a historical low. We're in the 4.2%, which is still almost close to a 50-year low. We're not back to like 8, 9, 10%, none of that. But he's showing the market that in the event where, as we study the data gets worse, we're going to be like ahead of this thing, not behind this thing, because the Fed has a dual mandate, right? Maximum employment and then obviously and price stability. Translation, maximum employment is we got to worry about unemployment rate, make sure it doesn't go crazy. And then price stability is we can't let runaway inflation comes on us. So because before it was out of whack like that, he literally sacrificed caring about the labor market because inflation was literally at some point 8, 9, he almost flirted with the double digits. Now that it has gone down, he's going back to equilibrium. Now he started to worry about both at the same time. And the way he's doing that is by cutting because he has the leg room for it, but also doing it because he's no longer worried too much about the inflation part. He's more worried about the unemployment part, making sure that it doesn't get too out of whack. Because if you're not ahead of this thing, when unemployment starts to rise, it rises very fast after that. Because let's say a company is struggling. You want to help somebody when they're struggling. You got to do it before they start firing people. Because when they start firing people, it's pretty much a wrap. It's kind of like you're a doctor and somebody's dying. You got to save them before they're dead. When they're dead, you can't just come in and this is not a video game. You just put the potion and then, hey, revive. No, when it's dead, it's dead. You can't, when you fire the people, when you have to cut, you're done. So that's why he has to ease now to avoid future increase of that unemployment rate, if that makes sense. So that's why today was bullish because he did a really killing conference.
Yeah, look, I've been saying leading up to this that I very much expected them to do 25 basis points because 50 basis points is likely to signal to the market that there's a little bit of uncertainty underlying that we might not be able to see. Because anytime that you cut 50 basis points first, that's generally what the market's going to see. But there's another consideration that I think he's taking into account. What just happened? We just got the job numbers. They got revisited and revised by 1 million jobs, 1 million less jobs. So I think he's realizing that a lot of the numbers that he's getting might not be correct. And he might need to be a little bit more ahead of it than he would want to be normally because he's not dealing with information that is in real time, that is true and accurate.
He called them out on it too.
He did. He mentioned it.
Smart comment. Yeah.
He mentioned it. Exactly. He mentioned it. And the other thing is, the other thing he said was, look, I know that prices are high. I can't do anything about that. But inflation now isn't the reason the prices are high. And so for me to keep interest rates high just because your prices are high, he doesn't balance the budget. He doesn't have all of the money that's being spent, all of the extra money, all of the debt that the government's in. He's mentioned that multiple times. He only has 2 ways of helping to ease or tighten monetary policy. He doesn't get to balance the budget. He has to navigate the waters without having the ability to reduce debt, from the federal government.
Yeah. One more trick that he has that he's able to use, that he's been using to help lower inflation as well, is that what's the word for it? It's the overall debt, right? The money printer, right? Global liquidity is rising, but that's global because China is printing money. But we're still literally slowly taking money out of the system to keep combating that inflation. Because again, we're not at 2, we're at 2.5. It's better than 3, but we still got a long way to go before we get to 2 because we might deal with some stagflation. So he's also taking money out of the system via the repo market. And this is also very, very important at a range of somewhere around $90 billion a month. So, but he's doing it very, very slowly while making sure that all the markets and overnight funds are still well capitalized in case there's an emergency and stuff like that. So he has a little tool that he's able to use, what I used to call when I was talking with Wells back in the day, we call it the plumbing, really understanding what's going on in that bond market. But other than that, he knows that he's at a section where he has built enough cushion that if there is an emergency, he can send the rate to 0 and he can flood the market with money again, because the debt that went so high, almost, was it 20 trillion? That went very, very high on the balance sheet, that went up very, very high during the COVID days. We've been going down on that balance sheet since then, not back to where we were before, but we've been going down a lot. So he knows that if there's an emergency, he can run it up again. That's why he's so confident, because things are moving in the right way. He's still going to keep monetary restrictive, but he's also aware that he's saving enough ammo, like a joke, so that if there's an emergency, you got that? So if there is an emergency, he can then deploy that. So that's where his confidence is coming from. And like also I said in my secondary tweet, which is important, what is the potential red flag, right? Right now, we're looking good because he did a really, really good job, but we still got to worry about Friday. Like I tweeted, why is that important?
Japan.
Exactly, because of the carry trade. That thing needs to be unwound. This is the reason why, again, I'm not talking about politics, ignore that. But the reason why those people are calling the 75 basis point is because those are people who participate in that carry trade, because that's how they were able to artificially also pump the stock market. You know what I mean? And the reason why I'm not worried about the politics is because any government that was in there, if their goal is to pump the market, they're going to find a way to pump the market. So it's not here and there. The point is, those people are going to be the one that got to worried about what Japan is going to do, because that's going to mess up their play. But Powell don't care about those people, rightfully so, because that's not his job. His job is inflation, unemployment. If whatever he does end up messing people who have private investments and stuff, if he knows that worst case scenario that doesn't really damage the work that he's doing, he's okay with it. And that's really the key. And that's why I'm saying he has the toughest job, but he's still balancing right from wrong and doing what makes the most sense. Because yes, granted, those big investors, when they start moving those monies can start wrecking the stock market. But since we're still dealing with a little bit of inflation, he would rather just let them potentially do that, which would still tame inflation down a little bit, at the same time, while not really hurting the unemployment rate, because the real thing that's hurting unemployment rate right now is those higher rates. So he's making a good balance by saying, I'm going to sacrifice a little bit worrying about inflation by not trying to pump the stock market right now too much, because inflation may come back, but I'm going to lower the rate because I need to worry about the American people, which is really, really the goal. And on Friday, we're going to know what Japan is going to do. And the reason why it's key is because Japan is in a great position right now to basically do the most selfish things that they can do. And as a country, they have the right to do that. And I explained that yesterday. Imagine you were Japan, okay? So you have to look at your own selfish interests, the same way the Fed focused on America first. Historically, the yen is at an all-time low, or was at an all-time low compared to the dollar, right? So in crypto talk, it's like your shitcoin, your coin is like at an all-time low compared to the other one. So you need to find a way to bail it out, buy the bottom, create some type of price support. And what most people have forgotten is that Japan is the number one holder of bonds, of treasury, T-bills. So as much as people give them a lot of flack, this, that, oh my God, crazy inflation, blah, 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 which is true. But they have one thing that's always be able to help them out, is that they are extremely disciplined. They are one of the most disciplined nations in the world. They are a great saver. They're like literally what Hexicans are. Basically, they'll be like our best customers. They literally just save, they think long-term, they invest. So although their currency is in the gutter, they make a lot of investment and they own the bonds, which again, when the bond market goes up, the value of those bonds goes up. So literally, it's in their best interest to continue to raise interest rate and to fuck up the trade. And here's why, for 3 reasons. Reason number one, similar like the Fed does. When you raise interest rate, that's how you can fight inflation, because you have to make the cost of money a little bit more expensive so that inflation could be a little bit tamed, okay, which they started to do a little bit. Again, sucks for the people, international investors who went to borrow the money cheap, because now all of a sudden they have to unwind it because the money that they borrowed to go play in the stock market is now getting more expensive. So they have to unwind it to pay the money back. It's like your loan rate just got changed on you. But Japan has to do it because they got to protect the currency value, right? Because now by raising rates also, reason number two, you now attract more foreign investors to come and try to get a yield, because you got to put meat on the bone so that people come and buy your currency to sustain it. And then reason number three, or why they do what they do, is they could sell the treasury to go buy back the yen. It's like having, let's say you have a bunch of Bitcoin, you have a bunch of Ether, you let it run up, and then you sell it to go buy back your favorite coin, which is, for Japan, it's their currency, right? So they could be selling treasuries to then come and buy back the yen. So this is why the Fed is trying to help them by lowering the rate. By lowering the rate, DXY goes down, dollar index, so that the spread between the yen in terms of currency value can start to go back within the range that it needs to be. So that way it will help Japan to be like, hey, I'm starting to help you so that your currency doesn't get worse compared to mine in the ratio trading, so that you don't feel compelled to dump the treasury on our heads, because the Feds don't want that also. And then you don't have to worry about raising your interest rate, because the goal is to close the spread. How do you close the spread? Either Japan raise their rate or Japan stay where it's at and then we lower ours. See my fingers? So one way or another, the spread can get closed. So that's why one of the reasons why I firmly believe Powell also did the 50 to kind of appease Japan, because they purposely scheduled their Fed meeting Friday, 3 days after. So they wanted to see what the Fed's going to do, because they've been playing chicken with the Fed for a while. They've been waiting. Fed didn't cut. And then they say, all right, if you're not going to help us, we're going to help ourselves. And this is why they did that little raise right that created that little black swan event. And then now they're in a really, really good situation to still say, F you, I'm going to keep raising rates because I want to keep closing that rate. And this is where it gets genius for Japan. It's fucked up, but it's just, they can do it. Not only they can continue to raise rate to close the gap, like I just explained, but it's going to force everybody else who got caught up with their pens down in that carry trade to unwind. Now, what does unwinding mean? Not all the money went into the stock market. Some of that money went also into the bond market. So unwinding means, in Hex talk, you forcing those people to leave the pool. They're going to have to sell the bonds, pushing them out of there to return the money that they borrow. And what ends up happening is Japan is the number one in the pool.
Hey, guess what? Their bond prices go up.
Exactly. So now I'm forcing you, I'm kicking you out of the pool so that my wealth grows, because my currency is killed. But as long as my wealth grows, my collateral grows, I can continue to print money and have a devalued currency. So now I can get my cake and eat it too. I can keep the money off my cake and eat the cake too. Because now I can raise the rate to keep kicking you out. It's like reverse carry trade. And there's literally $4 trillion literally that got caught up in this thing. Yep. So this is the reason why you started to see some of the yield push back up a little bit. It's still back to normal. It uninverted itself. So long term is still higher than short term. But it spiked back up. The 10-year spiked back up about 3.7 today, because it used to be at 3.65. Because some people got kicked out of the pool, because now they got to worried about cashing out and returning the money, because they're worried about what's going on Friday. So if Japan decides to play ball, it's just by saying, you know what, the Fed is accommodating us. We're not going to crash the American stock market. We're just going to chill and then leverage the fact that they're lowering rate. DXY went down. And remember, DXY is a basket of the other one. So every time DXY dollar goes down, that means euro and Japan goes up. Because the composition of the DXY, if I remember correctly, it's somewhere around 20 or 30% British pound, and then a little bit of Japanese yen in there too. But again, it's like the bigger beneficiary when the dollar goes down is euro and then pound. A little bit of Japanese yen, but we're hoping that with this 50% basis cut and the dollar going down, it's enough for the Japanese to say, you know what, all right, cool, the currency's out of the gutter, so we can chill. But they can literally say, F that, it's not enough for us. We're going to keep raising rate. We're going to kick you out of the pool, and you're going to return the money back, which then allows us to recalibrate.
And so just for the people, just to sort of put that into a small, if Japan decides to raise rates, that's going to negatively impact our stock market and our crypto market in the short term. If they decide to hold rates steady at 0, that means we are building even more bullish momentum from this point. So really keep an eye out for Friday. It is a big point in the market. It's really a great point by you, Kareem. And speaking of the market, Hex has been moving up a little bit. Pulse Chain's been moving up a little bit. What do you see short term in the Richard Hart's ecosystem? And what do you see in the medium and long term this cycle?
Okay, good question. Oh, one last point, very important, which I explained to people before. And we want to be very clear. We're talking about something temporary. I want nobody to panic, none of that stuff. Like I said yesterday, we are in a bear run in a bull market. Very important. A lot of people confuse the two. And like I've said many, many times, you guys are geniuses. You guys know what's up. But the problem is a lot of the time your timing is wrong. You keep messing that one part. It's not about being smart. It's about being wise. And sometimes patience, delayed gratification, right? Same in the style. So don't panic. It's like we got that $2,200 dip, like I telegraphed it. Now Friday is going to tell us if we can now continue to rise and grind up, or if Japanese messes up. It just means that we get a little bit of pullback, but it's going to be temporarily, because here's what's going to happen. Let's say worst case scenario, Japan decide to be greedy, rightfully so, because why should they care about us, right? They just keep pushing this thing. The whole trades get carried out. Remember what I said. Not all the money is in the stock market. Some of the money was in the bonds. So that means that, yes, you get a little pullback, but eventually, as the rate continually to go down towards 3% and lower, there's about $6 trillion. Hear me loud and clear. Quote this. There's about $6 trillion stock in money market funds of American investors' money. Not the people that went to play with the carry trade, whatever. There's many more trillions that are stuck in money market funds, and those people are risk averse. Those are like our best customers. And right now, they're getting fat and happy on the treasury bills. The moment that things get cut too low, that money has to move out and be deployed, right? Like I always say, money's like a jealous girlfriend. The moment you stop treating her well, she goes somewhere else. You stop treating her well, it is what it is. Don't hate the game. Understand what this is. So when that happens, which will happen mathematically by the end of the year or early 2025, because if you watch all the forecasts, best case scenario, we get another 50 basis points by the end of the year. Based on what Powell has telegraphed. If we get some type of really, really economic uncertainty, he might even cut it even faster. But the way you can look at it is no matter what, by 2025, federal funds rate is going to be around 4.5%, right? Because he was at 5.5. And markets always forward looking by a full point to 2 points. That means that when they were at 5.5, we're already at 3.6. So when they're going to get us at 4.5 to 4, we're going to be around 2.5. And when we crack the 3, what end up happening is that what we call your nominal interest versus your net is different, because the net is you got to take what you're getting paid by the T-bill minus the inflation. So if inflation at 2.5% and you're getting paid 3.6, your real rate, that's what's called, is positive 1.1. So that's really good. Bond market, trillions of dollars, they love it. The moment your real rate is 0 or negative, they got to move out the money and go into risky asset to generate a return, because that's what portfolio manager they have to do. And because they move trillion, they just need a little bit of spread. The whole reason behind that carry trade, Japan, whatever, it's also trillions of dollars. They were literally playing with a little bit of half a basis point. That's how crazy it is. But they move trillions of dollars, which also means when somebody said Kareem, Japan is only moving the 0.15. It was a half of a quarter point. Yeah, but half of a quarter point is still a big deal when you're dealing with $4 trillion.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. So long story short, no matter what, rates are going to continue to trend down. We're going to reach that critical mass when the real rate, which is, once again, what you're getting paid minus the inflation rate, is going to get close to 0, just like we saw in 2019. And then the money is going to move out, go into the stock market, go into the ETF, and most likely going to end up in crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum is specifically because Ethereum is the bond market version. Look at Bitcoin like the crypto market / just like the stock market and look at Ethereum and Hex, obviously, as they're going to look at it like the DeFi, lending, borrowing. That's why I also mentioned like other coins similar like Aave, Compound, starting to move because the money is coming back in. Because some of those people, the very smart investor, they see the writing on the wall. They look at projections. They make move 3-6 months in advance. They don't wait the last minute. This is why I say don't panic. If we get if Japan decides to be selfish, rightfully so, they have the right to do so. It's just a temporary pullback. If they decide to chill and sit on the T-bills and let the show goes on, because some of the Japanese money is also in the stock market. They don't have all of their money in the treasury. They're the number one bond holder, but they have also a lot of securities that because again, that's who they are. They're an investing nation. They don't really spend their money. This is the only reason why, although they have had the insane inflation they've been having for decades, they're still in the top 5 best economy in the world because they're literally piggybacking from the US. It's like Batman and Robin, right? They do what they're told, but they benefit from it too. If that makes sense.
It's a good point. So last
what was your question? Sorry, go ahead.
Last thing before we close out tonight, we usually do 2-hour shows. Just Hex Pulse Chain. We've had a lot of some good green candles over the past week.
Yes.
People are getting a little excited. What do you expect to see in the short term? And then what do you expect to see in sort of medium, long term this cycle?
Perfect. Question. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. Because it's easier to do it that way. So do a little breakdown. Boom. Entire screen. I just shared. Boom. Let me know when you can see it.
We got it up.
Got it up? Okay, perfect.
Just zoom in a little bit. That would be helpful, but it is up and running.
We'll do. So a couple of different things. Again, I like to start over here because we're dependent on Ethereum. So the main thing that I want to tell people here is that you get to see, let me go to the charts. 2 weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago, when I did a stream to explain to people about, because I look everything on the weekly chart, right? We cross over here, which is very, very bullish. But more importantly, even the DMI had that nice little bounce. So now we're getting close to a situation where what you're seeing here is most likely going to happen here very, very soon because we're getting the catalyst that we wanted to see, again, from the big investor and the people who watch the macro. Because what is happening now is that the macro is getting very, very positive. What I mean by that is that we're getting already, gold got that brand new all-time high. I like to start with that. And then the fact that the pattern that it has is what Bitcoin is looking to do, right? It had that little megaphone, bump and run, breakout, retest, off it goes, right? This is literally what gold did after being here for literally years, right? This same pattern that I'm seeing here is what I think Bitcoin is doing. The difference is Bitcoin is somewhere around here, okay? And I explain that to people. So now watch this. I'm going to the Bitcoin chart. You see similarity, boom, right? It did that bull flag, got the big pole, you know what I mean? Lower high, lower low, but it's just flagging, right? Now it's getting ready to re-enter, most likely sneak peek, all-time high, retest, and then somewhere by the end of the year can start running towards the 6-figure, literally looking like the gold chart like I just explained. Now, as the monetary policy ease, the money comes in, boom, 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 Bitcoin fly, Ethereum fly, because I also see ETH BTC is getting very, very close to hit that bottom formation where it's just retesting that previous zone, and then it's going to start to consolidate. And as Bitcoin flies, because the ETH BTC pair still has a lot of liquidity, Ethereum will always benefit from a Bitcoin mega pump no matter what. The same way we as an ecosystem are going to benefit from that too, because as the money coming back in, and now specifically, just like we had in DeFi summer in 2019, I called it yesterday, man, it's going to be DeFi until next year, from the winter to the next year, because coins like I was just explaining, Aave, Compound, because they do similar things related to, lending and borrowing. You get to see literally for the past 2 months, they've been on a tear. They've been looking really, really good. Like it's looking at that nice little takeover. So, the liquidity is coming back in. If you're looking at EHEX, very important, liquidity also coming back in, because as you guys know, or if you didn't know, there's a lot of people that love Richard Hart, but because they're just ETH maxi, and then the ego is in the way, they will never go to Pulse Chain, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to just buy the Hex on Ethereum, right? They will benefit from the way the system works, the decentralized, all this other stuff. But for whatever reason, they don't want to go on Pulse Chain. They want to stay on Ethereum but there's a Hex there too. And they're going to stop pumping this because they understand that we're getting to a phase where DeFi is going to be king again. Again, imagine the world where in 2025, as all the prices are higher because we worry less about inflation, and now you're getting a call from your bank and you're dealing with the same BS where you're no longer getting that 4 or 5% yield sitting on your treasury. Now you're getting 2%, maybe 1%, because all of a sudden the rate went down a lot. What's going to happen? You're going to start looking at DeFi. You're going to start looking at the Hex of the world, the Aave, the Compound, because now you can provide your stable coin and start earning 3, 4, 5%. The moment you start to earn more than the regular market, again, telegraph, just like we saw in 2019, 2020, they're going to fly all back because, again, the girlfriend, remember how she was treated. The moment she don't get that treatment over there, but she knew where she had it before, she's going to come back and get it. This is why we're seeing a lot of this flow coming back. And again, obviously, with the same buzz coming into Pulse Chain as well, on top of the fact that the macro is looking really, really good. Consolidation has happened. Heavy bullish diversion, as you guys can see on the weekly chart, right? Oh, yeah. DMI has already bounced. You get to see here is one of my favorite indicators, literally. That's why I drew this line here, because I saw a little, imagine it's like a little W right here. Boom, boom, bounce off here. Now it's looking to come in great glory, ready to cross. You're seeing that too. And they all look very, very similar. Pulse X, which is very, very, very similar as well on the weekly chart. Boom, you see that. And then Inc as well. And then obviously PHEX too. But the cool thing that also reminding some people, let's say you have your Hex bag, everything is set up and whatever, and then you're looking to provide either liquidity or earn yield and have flexibility, right? Because the way I love about people who provide liquidity, it's like a mini Hex stake. The difference is you're getting less, you're doing a trade-off. You're getting less on the yield, but you're getting flexibility if you want to pull out the liquidity or whatever it might be. But they all have that beautiful W pattern that I call. It's the most bullish pattern that I love in the world. Is a W with a higher low. And this is why I told everybody when they ask me in order, and literally it's been pumping in that order, it's going to be Inc first, then it's going to be Pulse X, and then it's going to be Pulse. And you can see literally in the chart because they all have a W, but then the W with the highest higher low by hundreds of percent is the one on Inc, okay, from the technical, because you can see how literally, and I've showed that a couple of times, from here to this low here, it's like almost 200%. When you look at from Pulse X view, if you look at this one here from the low, roughly to this low right here, it's about 60-some%. So when you have a W pattern with a higher low, the one that bounced the quickest usually is the one that has the most velocity. And then from that technical, you can add the fundamental. Kareem, why is that? Why is Inc first? Because mathematically and by studying incentive, like its freaking name, incentive token, literally, can't be this more fucking obvious. You need Inc to fly first. Inc goes up, APY for all the pools go up as well. As people come in, they get incentivized to buy. Look at it literally like Federal Reserve talk, right? What happened when Federal Reserve or countries raise rates? They raise rates to strengthen the value of the currency. Why? Because when they raise rate, investor comes. How do they come? They buy the currency, which strengthen the currency. And they buy why? Because they want to provide liquidity, aka buy the T-bill, sit on it, earn the yield. It's the same thing. I'm using analogy to make it, to demystify this, to really make you understand that you can understand how this works too, because I literally mastered this thing. So this is why Inc has to go up first, because also it's very dynamic, as you guys know. A lot of people flooding, buy and stake, also then the APY goes down. So you need to also pump it so that the APY stays also high as new people are coming in, because you want those people to buy and not sell. Well, how are they going to do that? Is if they're sufficiently incentivized. So when Inc goes up, the APY, all the pool goes up, and then all of a sudden, Pulse X will go up too, because those are the biggest pool with the most money. People are buying those things because when you provide liquidity for the most part, Pulse X or whatever, some of the biggest one, or Inc Pulse X, you need obviously all the coins. So now all of a sudden they're benefiting from that too, and also because it's bonded liquidity, so they go up in order together. But in the flow of Inc first, because it has to be where the liquidity has to come first. Then Pulse X, because Pulse X is also very oversold, and as volume starting to kick in, especially the volume on X, the volume on X really allow Pulse X to pump because the volume is really kicking in. Because the big money also long term, they want Hex. Make no mistake about it. This is not me being a maxi. Just understand this. Hex was created and will always be number one. Pulse chain was created to satisfy Hex. Very, very important. A lot of people who have sacrificed for Pulse Hex, one of the reasons why they did that, rightfully so, is after they make a lot of money, their goal was to turn the profit into a Hex stake that, and then live your best life by just stay there and chill, rightfully so, right? Let's say you turn 50K into $1 million, and then you can put 500K on the rotation stake and build a ladder and generate 5-10K a month. You were never worried about trying to trade and make money. You would just be happy to make 5-10K a month and be financially free to the rest of your days. So occasionally what you're going to be seeing, like you're seeing literally the last 2 days, is after this formation happens, which I've been telegraphing literally for 2 weeks, which is Ink first, then Pulse X, then Pulse. And then occasionally, once in a while, you get a massive pump on X. Why? Because some of those people who made a lot of profit, because a lot of people were buying the dip, make no mistake about it, they're converting some of that profit, that Pulse Chain profit or Pulse X profit or Ink profit, they're converting that into buying Hex at the lows too, mindfully, and then creating stakes to start earning yield. And because they know they're near the bottom, it's the closest, safest, best time to buy Hex, because now, just like when you provide yield farming but on steroid, you're getting paid on the yield, but the yield goes up in value. So in other words, if you're making, in an example, if you're making $50 a day, and then all of a sudden the price double, now all of a sudden your $50 a day is now doing $100 a day. I explained the story of the Dream account where it started, it paid $30 a day, and then on the peak of the market, it was doing almost $15,000 a day. But it was always like that because I never sold, and then the coin just became more valuable. So that same logic is going to apply. Over the last 2 weeks, right, we have this candle here, 50% pump, and then another 35% pump. So the value of people's daily yield is increasing. And remember the mechanics with Hex. When the price gets high enough, all of a sudden, even the day traders stop trading because they're afraid of selling and then being left behind. So now all of a sudden it pumps even faster. Then what ends up happening is the swing traders also stop trading because they're like, my portfolio is so valuable, I can just leave off the yield and I don't have to worry about selling because we're trending in the right direction. This bullish diversion was so crazy because although we're pumping 50, whatever, and another 35 here, look, the volume is still low compared to where we were here. So in other words, it could easily keep pumping because it's literally blue sky breakout. It's just hitting the limit orders, and then whoever the last minute sellers are selling, and it just clears it out, and then it's and higher. Because a lot of people who sold already sold here. Definitely, there's that big red candle here with the volume, and then a bunch of it over here. So what's left here is just some of it is also bots, like a lot of buy and sales bots, but it's not really like people actually selling because a lot of people who sold already did. And then last but not least, back to the Ink here. This is a little bit more advanced, but it's just to show you why Ink is the leading indicator, is when you start comparing it to Pulse in terms of ratio. This is one of the most bullish chart you will have in the literally Pulse X ecosystem, excluding Hex, is this chart right here. Because at some point, we were here, right? Now, this is artificial because what was happening is that a lot of people who sacrificed, I want to explain this to you guys, big money, so you understand, they had so many Pulse and Pulse X, rightfully so, because the big money had massive bonuses, if you guys remember. Some of them up to 30%. So if you sacrifice like a good amount, millions plus, and then you're in the top 10, top 20, you literally wake up and then you literally had millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars for free just from your bonus tokens. So what those people were doing is, rightfully so, is doing a little like diversifying by using their extra coin, their free coin, to buy the hell out of Ink. Because at the time, rightfully so, Ink wasn't in the trillions of coin, right? Very scarce. And if you're also big in the pool and you're not selling, you're creating a price supply shock. Because the only people that can get the Ink are the people who are in the farm. If you're big in the farm, that means you're holding most of the coin as well. And you want to make the coin more valuable and also create FOMO at the same time, which they did, so that at a later time, after you accumulate a lot of money via providing liquidity, then you can start selling, which ended up happening here, okay? But then, as you guys know, you're going to have a lot of people kind of panic sold after here, just selling their yield, emptying their bag for no reason, to the point where it became so oversold. Look at that. This is log, right? When you start going down, look how low it went. Crazy. To the point where the same people, big money, just be like, so cheap, this is the time to buy. I would suspect, Richard and Co start injecting some money here, rightfully so, because you want to buy as many coins as you can at the cheapest price as you can, because then you can offer those coins in the pool to provide liquidity. So you want to do it when you can buy it at the low, so have the most value, and then provide it as liquidity later on in the forms of collateral, which is good. Now we're getting to that point where I drew this weeks ago, back in April. We're getting this zone. This bull flag is going to play out. And when this bull flag plays out, you're seeing a major move here at the very least of almost 100%. Because I firmly believe that ink could have been overpriced over here, but it's definitely value somewhere around here. And just from where we are at, actually, no, that's just the breakout, but from where we are at, roughly, to where it needs to be, right around this mid zone, which is here, it's about 150%. Now, this is in ratio term. This is ratio to pulse. What that means is if pulse do a 10x, ink will do 15x. And again, rightfully so, because it's the leading indicator. It has to go first to incentivize people to buy pulse and pulse X to provide liquidity to earn ink. So this is how you know that ink is leading the way. But anytime it's under here, it was undervalued, like I told people, and that's why it started pushing higher. There's a high chance that it's going to continue to go here, but then the real pump is going to start when this is start to get a blue sky breakout over there. So look out for that. And when that happens, money is going to come into the pulse chain at an insane rate, because the higher ink is, the more insane the pool values are going to be. So therefore, the more people will be willing to bridge, rightfully so, with lower fee, near zero, because we have zero on the bridge when you bring the money in. And remember the update that Richard did recently, very, very good, will allow to the automatic router to be even more efficient. Because again, when you deal with big money and millions of dollars, you can't just go buy DAI. You can't just go buy USDC. You don't get the best order execution. You get a lot of slippage. What you have to do, literally sometime with $1 million, you have to split it in 3 or 4 ways. You have to do 300,000, Tether, 300,000 DAI, 300,000 USDC to get the better order execution to buy the coin that you want to buy. So this is why he made that update, which is very, very good.
It's been huge. It's been a huge update.
But all that is in preparation to what's to come, okay? This is why now you combine, I'm bringing back myself here. You combine the business accolade mastery, right? Because I understand from sales, you have to create incentive. You have to have a good product. You can just be a good talker. If the product sucks, people come, then they realize the product sucks, and then they bounce, right? So you have to have a good offering. You have to talk a good game, and you have to have the incentive that's literally there long-term that promotes the right behavior. Very, very important. There's a reason why, sadly, I end up, not even trying to, but a lot of people that try to introduce me their coin or whatever, and I give them, benefit of the doubt, hit them out, I end up destroying their coin, because it's like I quickly figure out that it's not, they don't get it. It's like you're giving so much upfront and so much incentive that I'm already seeing the pitfall in the long term. So it's like it really becomes a zero-sum game, and like first come, first serve, benefit crazy. Whoever comes after literally sometimes just a month, you're late by 1 month. It's like you whether you like it or not, you the exit liquidity. There's no way you're gonna be able to catch up. Versus in stuff like Hex, even with the sharing and whatever and the slow degradation, but then exponentially over time, it gives you like 10 years. Serious. Share rate start going crazy every day and really exponential, where it's like, we'll be like, bro, where were you? We've been here 10 years. You know what I mean? But at least it gives you like a lot of time before, you like, oh my God, compared to the day one guy, year 15, okay, you're never going to catch this guy. I'm sorry. But you don't want to have a situation where it's like, bro, you got here today, somebody comes 2 months after you, and it's like, there's already a epoch separation between the two of you. Because what they don't understand is that you're fucking up the game for the new person. And if you don't care about the new person, sometimes more than the old person, I know it's fucked up to say, but that's important. As a business person, you have to look at it like that, because the new person is what guarantees that you're going to stay in business. And the old person needs to understand that it's nothing personal. You need to understand that we're doing what's best for the ecosystem, not just you as the customer. You got to look at it. The system needs to create something that's self-fulfilling for everybody, so it becomes self-sustainable. Whether we're here or not here, it just keeps doing what it's doing, because Hex will reach that escape velocity, mark my word, especially in the first 15 years, where whether new money comes in or not, there's enough liquidity that's just in the system that it just keeps on paying people. And then the new people comes in or enough to pay the old people, and it just kind of becomes self-sustainable. Right now, obviously, we had a nice, crazy run up, but it's like it wasn't as sustainable just yet because it was the first inflow. Once we get a second and a third wave and there's enough money in the system, and because of the delayed gratification and the time value of the money spread out over time, as people cash out at a different time frame versus people coming in doing their time, the people who come in now pays the people who already paid their time, and then it creates a sustainability where the price never really crash, and then it just run on its own, because it literally just have a bunch of money that just sits there and just pays everybody drop by drop, just like the bond market does. You know what I mean? Currency is being devalued, but it's devalued at a slow pace. You don't want to be a banana republic, and at a slow pace while paying other people, where it's like, okay, it promotes the right behavior, and then you're good to go. I hope that makes sense.
Makes a ton of sense. Will, Nate, you guys got any questions? Look, Kareem, we could talk for another 2 more hours, buddy.
I know you guys are good. You got me in the zone. You guys know how I do. So
yeah, I do. And I told Nate, I was like, look, we're not going to need that many questions because Kareem is so free with information that he really covers everything very, very thoroughly for very quickly.
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to say, which, by the way, yes, Brendan was definitely right about that. This has been absolutely fantastic, by the way. So glad to have you on here, Karim. One of the things, though, I would like to say about like Inc., is that a lot of people are going to be taking profits into Inc. and not necessarily actually going into Hex so much as I think they're actually going to be going to a lot of the alts on Pulse Chain. And I do believe that a lot of people are kind of repeating Richard's idea of sort of like taking Ethereum, waiting for it to pump, and then moving it into his coins. And I think a lot of people are kind of doing that same thing with Inc., right? Yep. Where they're going to wait for Inc. to pump and then put it into their coins that they've created currently. Yep. So, it's definitely something to think about. I got a nice little list of altcoins. I do want to try and make a show on that one day. And also I'm gonna do a whole series of tweets on it and everything with the sub communities. And specifically the coins that I think are going to be like the winners, right? Also safe ones too that aren't going to rug. But yeah, that's going to be a little bit. That's going to be a little bit. It's probably going to be in October. I'm going to have to do that because my IRL job right now needs me so badly. I'm just working straight 12s, man.
That's true. It's funny. What you just said is so true. Also, in a sense where this is actually why. It is going to be the reason why I believe it's going to be that breakout when I show on the ratio between PulseX and Pulse. And I'm sorry, between the Inc. and Pulse. The reason why it's going to break out like that is exactly because of what you just said. Because what's going to happen is, just like with Hex, the Inc. is going to rise in value sufficiently high. Let me explain what that is. Very important, people watching. I know some people, oh my God, in $200, this, that, and the third. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to get that high. But so far, so good. It will and has to be the leading indicator. Mark my word. Take it, print it. Inc. will, like it's been since I've been calling the last 2 weeks since I got back, will pump from if we do literally, we start the game, all three, it will be the first one to pump the fastest always. Maybe out of the blue, Hex might take it over for a little bit because of the other stuff that I mentioned because it was oversold. But it's going to be the leading indicator, and it has to be. And because the incentive needs to be created. Now, that incentive is going to start hitting its limitation when Inc. reach $10 to $15. It's going to start having severe pushback. Why? Because, and I know some of them personally, there's some big whale out there who are farming some crazy-ass Inc. And when they start seeing their weekly profit, this is the part when people, they talk shit about Hex, but it's good because when you're locked, it protects community big time. Because some people, when they start seeing the price of Inc. higher, and then they're literally making, I kid you not, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 a month, and they can just take the money and just dump it. At some point, they might be like, fuck this, I want to go buy a car. It won't even be, I don't care. It's not even about a coin or this, that. They're just going to cash out to go do whatever they want to do with it, which they can. So this is where Inc. can get a little bit of a pushback. And the way is going to be gradual, but then still going to break out. It's because once we get peak euphoria 2025, some of the people who are like, they have bigger vision. They get to like our level in a sense where it's like, bro, we're good. We bought what we already want to buy. Maybe they want to do their own coin, like you said, or whatever. So now they don't necessarily need to cash out to buy something. They already got what they need. So what they're going to do is they're going to take that ink and they're going to provide liquidity with their coin or whatever other coin, right? Because that's the coin that they farm from free, thanks from PulseX. So they're literally basically starting their game. And again, I'm not going to start no coin, but I understand the logic. I'm not dumb. So they're farming the thing for free. They're going to use it to provide liquidity. As anybody who ever created a coin before understand that in the beginning, you purposely create the liquidity. You want to make it small. So whatever you're farming is good enough. You can literally farm, wait a couple months, ink is high enough, maybe it's worth 10K, 20K. You set the farm and then you're good. So next thing you know, that ink is no longer being sold because it's being used to provide liquidity. The same way back in the day, Ethereum pumped a lot because a lot of the ETH was stuck in smart contracts, right? And liquidity pools and all this other stuff. That's what's going to happen to ink, which then going to allow it to continue to rise. But it will take time because some of those big whales who are earning massive, they're looking at it like, bro, we're not selling the Pulse and the PulseX. We're big dog in the pool. We ain't trying to leave the pool. Richard and crew make us fat and happy. We have no reason to betray the system. Think about it. It's logic. It's literally like Federal Reserve, right? That's why I explain in a way where it's nothing personal. Like, I'm not against no project. I'm just saying, like, you're doing the same thing, but you're fighting against a guy that has a bigger war chest, that has a track record of doing something good, clean, immutable. So imagine you're the big world, because I know how they think. It's like, I already got the Pulse and PulseX. I'm here. I'm sitting there. I'm already making crazy money right now. Mind you, I'm talking to you about after a 5, 10x pump. So that's going to be already good. So they're going to look at it like, okay, what's the stuff, right? Is, okay, I can make more money over there, riskier, new contract, whatever. But then I got to take contract risk. I got to worry about potential rug pull. You know what I mean? So they got to factor all, because those whales, they're moving big money. And they don't do things half. Even though you can say, but Kareem, they can just throw 10K, they make some money. But some whales, they don't think like that. They look at it like, I'm going to study you. If I don't feel like I can put $300,000 into your project, I'm not going to do it at all. I'm not doing half. When I went to Hex, I went in. I didn't be like, oh, no. But I did my big-ass research for a while. And once I decided this is it, so it's not a gamble, I go in. I don't second guess. I don't, you know what I mean? So I know people who are like that. And those guys, you got to give them a crazy incentive and give them a peace of mind so that they go test those other waters. Because otherwise, they're just going to stay fat and happy, rightfully so, because the yield is keeping them fat and happy. Just like the trillions of dollars are fat and happy with the yield right now with the Federal Reserve, right? You have to take away the incentive. Now they're going to go take risk. Now they want to go to crypto. Now they want to go to the stock market. Yep. So the only way that happens is if the yield goes so low, we have so much adoption that the yield is so low, and then they say, you know what, we're going to go gamble somewhere else. But until then, respectfully, they're going to just play the PulseX game, and then they're going to dump the ink, cash out, and chill. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense, my friend. I think that is a great place for us to end for tonight.
That was a great show.
If you don't mind sticking around in the green room for just a minute after, just to close out. But Nate, Will, you first, buddy. Where can people find you? You already threw out your Hex meetup earlier, but sign us off.
Yes, I did. So for the folks at home who don't know me, you can find all of my socials from my Pulse domain at will.pls.fyi. If you're a Hexkin looking to meet other Hexkins, then you can check it out down here at bit.ly/hex_meetup. Go meet Hexkins. Have a good time. As far as things that are going on in the near future, I'm going to be hosting our book club this Friday. We are covering the Warriors Ethos. So it's a super quick, short little book. Takes about 40 minutes to read if you listen to it on double speed. Highly recommend it. Great book. That's what we're covering on Friday. This Sunday, so is normal. You can do the DJ.
Well, we can't hear you. I'm sorry, bud. You're like rapping right now.
All right. How about now? Am I all better?
Try again.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Where did I cut out at?
Ethos. 40 minutes. Check us out Friday.
Oh, the Warriors Ethos. So Warriors Ethos on Friday. Other than that, you guys can catch our normal Sunday show right here where you're at right now, youtube.com/@Degen Roundtable. We always do these shows every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, so you guys can check us out here all the time. There's also our little Telegram. If you guys will click on that little, or if you find that little QR code down below, my laptop is currently restarting, so I can't drop any links in the chats, but you guys know where to find us. t.me/DRT join now, all one word. That's all I got. Nate, what's new and exciting for you in the near future, and where can the folks find you?
Yeah, you can find me in the Telegram. You can also find me on X, where as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and announce this here that I'm basically taking like 2 weeks, 2 to maybe 3 weeks off of just crypto in general, which means, sorry, Will, I won't be there Friday. I've decided I'm going to basically just do everything that my company absolutely needs me to, be sort of like that hero for them for a little while. And then once things are able to be settled down there, which should be in October, then I'm going to come back and when I'm getting off at like 5 o'clock every single day at that time, or even like 4 earlier, basically I've got a good 3-4 hours to be able to just go on a mad streak, kind of like how I was a little bit earlier in the year, of just as much information as possible, trying to help out people as much as possible, right? And just giving out all the alpha that I've been finding. So yes, I plan on coming back, but you will not be seeing me for a little while. So sorry, guys.
All good, buddy. We wish you the best. Got to make that money. Got to get that dry powder before the market takes off. So work those hours, man. Get that OT and get some more money to put into the market. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, in our community, we have a lot of people that are working 2, 3, 4 jobs in this depressed market so that they can put more and more money into it. And I really respect the people that are working hard to put more money into the market. Kareem, where can the people find you outside of X?
Yeah, absolutely. And then just quick footnote, you're absolutely right. Not if you can, people, this is the perfect time, because again, markets are still depressed. And remember, look at it like whatever you put in now has the potential to do, 10, 20, 40, 50x. So if you can hustle down to the end of the year, even if you add an extra $1,000, that $1,000 can turn into 50K. You know what I mean? For most people, I know people, sadly, who don't even retire with 50K. I mean, it's just, catching it at this low. And if you extrapolate that into the stuff that we talked about earlier with providing liquidity and stuff, and let's say that 50K end up generating you another $1,000 to $2,000 a month, that's where the real value is, the money printer, the thing that you're able to generate. It's very awesome. So, yeah, to find me, easy again on X, right? Twitter, Your Magic, easy there. Or on, if you guys are on IG, I'm a lot on IG sometime when I'm on the road. So it's Kareem Crypto 555. I'm going to put it in the chat as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you. Awesome. Time, you have earned it, love. I will follow you on X because you deserve it. You're awesome. You have great energy. And you always send good message of comfort. So appreciate that. I just read that in the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so feel free, ask questions, DMs, whatever. Like I said, I am mainly busy only during the day because I'm doing a blockchain analysis. Again, there's a gentleman that I'm helping out. That's the way I pay back for the loans, stuff like that. And again, I have sometimes other works too, because I work with my friend John Anderson. We do constructions and stuff like that. My goal is I want to pay people back as fast as possible, not just relying and waiting for this court case to be done. And then potentially, because when I generate money, I can generate money fast. Once I'm above that, then I'm trying to get my stake back that I lost. And then after that, hey, provide some LP and ride and just, chill. So, yeah, that's it for me.
I love it, brother. Well, honestly, it's been a pleasure. I think this was a fantastic stream. A lot of just breadth of information over multiple topics. We are super happy to have you back in the States. I can't wait till you're back in Miami. I will take you out on the night when you get back here. And
That's awesome. Watch out. I might end up taking you out. but yeah, we'll do that. That's awesome. It's good that you're close by. So, but right now, I'm primarily here in New Orleans, because I'm doing a lot of work here with John. I want to help him out and stuff.
Yeah, so two of our guys are two of our Degen Roundtable guys are in New Orleans, Dace and Jeff. So
perfect. Yeah, put them in touch.
We got 2 people in the bayou, but yeah, we'll touch base in the green room after this. I just want to thank everybody. Please, if you haven't, like, subscribe. If it's your first time here, join our Telegram. And honestly, we wouldn't do this show if it wasn't for the people that we can help. So thank you all for watching, listening. Kareem, thank you. Miss Producer, get that trigger figure ready, because it is about time that we sign out. Remember to degen responsibly.